Let's see, man. Happy Friday, Cinco de Mayo. We are in the building on a Cinco de Mayo. I ain't gonna lie to you guys, man. I really contemplated if I was gonna go to this show tonight. I'm kind
What
of
show?
disappointed. I don't even want to talk about it, really, man. The Killers and the Yeah Yeah Yeahs are performing at the Shaky Knees
Oh,
Festival tonight together. Cypress Hill's there too. Diggable Planet's there too. And I was like, man, I want to ghost out on the show on Friday, but I know we got stuff to get done, so I'm gonna have to see them in Dublin or something. I don't know. I got to make it up to myself at some point. But I was
no, no,
like,
no,
damn it,
no.
why can't, because it's all weekend. Why can't they all be on the Saturday show? Or why couldn't the Killers be tonight and Yeah Yeah Yeahs be tomorrow, or vice versa? I have to pick one, but they all on tonight's show.
Hey, what is it with big time groups and bands and events and hosts and stuff in Atlanta
Mm-hmm.
being done during the weeknight? You see, this city has too much of a party reputation. And so
Mm-hmm.
the artists feel like it's like, well, we can just pull up on a Thursday or Friday. Like it's Atlanta. Like they always partying and kicking it. You know what I'm
It
saying?
might be that Cinco de Mayo thing. Maybe they tried to get all them in on Cinco de Mayo, but I don't know. I mean,
There could be a little Kinko for Cinco in there, but you know what I mean? For the most part, like think about this, Mike. If not for the Hawks winning the game that nobody thought that they were going to win, Janet was about to perform on a Thursday because she like, no, 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 it's Atlanta. It goes up on a Thursday. I know.
right. It's crazy, man. Conway dropped an album today that we're gonna get into. I know we usually start with some basketball talk. Is Phoenix tonight? Phoenix and Denver tonight?
At 10 o'clock, sir. 7 o'clock.
Phoenix gonna win tonight?
They they better, Mike. I mean, here's the thing about it. Okay, so look at it like this. Allen Iverson did take a game off Kobe and Shaq in L.A.
Well,
No,
come
no,
on,
no. Let me
man.
finish. Michael Jordan was once down 2-0 to the Knicks in the playoffs and came back and won that series in 7. That actually might have been the toughest series he ever played.
I think so.
LeBron has been down 2-0 like multiple times and has made it like respectable showings. You get what I'm saying? And so it's like, even if they're not going to win this series, about certain players' legacies, especially how things have gone since certain players have left certain places. Yeah. Like, if ever, Mike, that whole how many shots should you take type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, you're right, Mike. This one of the nights, it's like, no, 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 I better watch you hoist up about 35 shots.
He's gotta hit. I mean, Denver's gonna be Denver, right? And they're gonna be consistent,
No, I don't.
even if
That
Murray's off. So I think he's got to get 40 tonight at least. 28 ain't gonna do it.
I'm gonna give him and Coach some equal smoke. They both need to switch some things up. Coach needs to switch up the lineup, and Coach also needs to switch up some of the defensive assignments. And somebody needs to up their shot attempts to.
Well, in basketball, I feel like this. Like
Somebody need to
I
go
feel like
coach.
in these moments with these type of players that are just elite basketball players, like top 15 all time. It's not the coach job anymore, man. You got to take over. I feel the same way about that whole thing that's going on in Milwaukee. It's like Phil Jackson was heralded being the coach that he was because he had guys that he could just sit there and say, you know what, they're just not going to lose. I'm going to let them play. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna let Kobe take over here. I'm gonna let Shaq take over here. I'm gonna let Jordan take over here. And I think in a game like this, when you're down 0-2, Kevin Durant has to say, no, I'm the best player on this court. I'm not gonna lose tonight. That's not on the coach at this point. Ego
You
has
want to
to
know what?
step in. You know what I mean?
Okay, so a couple things to that. You want to know what? I'm going to agree with what you have to say on that because the rules aren't different for him.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, Mike. The only time that I watched Kevin Durant in the playoffs in 2 games, and I thought he wasn't the best player on the court, LeBron was on the court.
Yeah.
Until these last 2 games against Denver, do you understand like that? Like other than LeBron in the playoffs, I haven't seen 2 straight games where somebody was Tatum last year against Boston. Yeah, Tatum against Boston last year, and now Jokic. Like, it's the first time somebody other than LeBron has been better than, like, Durant on the court. Like, Giannis was even saying when he beat Durant is like, well, he's the best player in the world.
Well,
Giannis was saying that.
That's 2 years in a row. So are we seeing a
That's what I'm
decline of
saying.
Durant?
So remember when I was saying it's like, no. It looked like somebody shell shocked from all the injuries the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I'm talking about because it's like, no, like, even though he lost to Giannis, like, no, he outplayed Giannis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, no, he's not outplaying people anymore. Like, Brooklyn was probably going to lose to Boston, but Tatum outplayed him. Like, Jokic, as of right now, is outplaying him. It's like, no, that didn't happen to anybody unless it was LeBron. And so he either needs to up the shot attempts or we need to start looking like, okay, is this the end of his prime?
Yeah, because I think that's the best way that he can affect the game. Now, obviously, he blocks, gets rebounds, but him scoring is the best way for him to affect the game, and he's just got to put up enough shots.
You want to know what's crazy is that one of the worst things that I think that's happened to him is that he's actually become a relatively great passer. Like, he's a great passer now, and because he's a great passer now and because he sees things now better than he used to as a younger player on plays where he used to shoot, because he's a great passer and his basketball IQ is high, and he's the type of player that likes to make the right play, he doesn't understand that, damn, the right play, you're Kevin Durant. The right play is you shooting the motherfucking
Exactly.
ball.
I think him and LeBron really don't understand that to a degree. I think LeBron's understood that over time, but he always makes the right basketball play.
Shoot like this. LeBron didn't shoot no 94% from the line this year, Mike.
No, you're
he
right.
He doesn't shoot 37% from three from his career. 50% from they both 50% from the floor, but different ways, different
ways. Yeah, from long range. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, Mike, you should have gone to that show. Sounds dope. Don't do that to me, man. Somebody said in the chat, says that, I don't know if you saw this Rolling Stone list. We're going to talk about a couple of lists today, but Rolling Stone got another terrible list out. They had Dove Shack. He said, no Dove Shack, summertime in the LBC. But they got Ryan Lewis and Macklemore for a top 100 West Coast track. Thumbs up in the chat. Click like and subscribe. All of those things. Yeah, thumbs up so we can get more and more people in here. We're going to talk about this Rolling Stone top 100 West Coast songs list. Did you say on the last episode that you didn't think G-Thang was a crossover record?
I might have said something like that.
It got number 1 on this list. Just to, I just want to put that out there. Jay Short with the super chat says, the Bucks got overconfident and they tried to load manage Giannis in the playoffs a few games and the Heat caught them slipping. Mad Max says, Fab over Conway confirmed. I do think that Fab had the best verse on the Conway song with Benny, and I think he did. First things first. First things first.
That's the best Mad Max can do. First of all, no, Mike. I'm not gonna let you skip over the fact since you're bringing up nothing but a G thing. Didn't you just call Mike Budenholzer
a great coach?
A great coach on the last episode, Mike?
I did, and I stand with that.
What happened to that great coach?
And you know what? This is what I'm going to say. I think that Milwaukee being the number 1 seed, not only this year, and I think it was last year too, right? Or was Boston number 1? One of the two.
No,
I bet they.
Brooklyn, Boston.
We're about to see a lot about Giannis and Milwaukee as a whole without this man at the helm. I think they're going to go from 1st seed to 4th or 5th seed, not having him as a coach.
But they might be a better playoff team. Because I was trying to tell you. I kept on trying to tell you. He ain't all that.
I think he is. And you know what? He's about to get a job real quick.
Like, people don't understand is that Milwaukee has everything.
Mm-hmm.
They have length. They have size. In terms of like width, girth. Like they have lift, they have size. They have shooting. They have a Hall of Fame top 25 caliber player. They have 2 other all-star caliber players. Like they literally have everything. They have one of the greatest players ever. They have one of the greatest players of this era. They have great defense. They have great shooters. They have length. They have rebounding. They have everything. anything less than like even being like this is supposed to be their finals run, as in plural. Like Milwaukee, when they had Oscar Robertson and they drafted Kareem and they got Oscar. No, Mike, for like the 4 or 5 years that they had Oscar and Kareem, it was either conference finals or finals. That's what happens when you have like, no.
They don't have a
That's what I was
dog
trying
on
to
their
tell you. It's
team.
like, no.
They don't have a Jimmy Butler on their team. And, you know, it's
Hey, talking about
talented.
Giannis went for 50 in a game 6 in the finals. Giannis is more than enough, Mike.
Who was that against?
Giannis for the last, how about this?
That was
Mike?
against the Suns. Wait a minute. That was against the
No. You know,
one of the most
I'll
fraudulent
tell you,
teams to ever make the
I'll
finals.
tell you this. Like, and you know I'm a KD guy, and it's easy to say who LeBron is, but as far as like the last 10 years goes, Mike, like and Kawhi included, it's like no, LeBron, KD, Giannis. It's like that with Giannis. Like you got one of the best 3 players of the last 10 years.
Did he not choke in this last series?
I mean, LeBron has choked, KD has choked, Steph has choked.
Okay.
Magic has choked. Kareem has choked. Those early Bucks teams, oh no, they only won 1 ring.
And,
well, no, Kareem didn't really choke. It's just, they just got beat.
I mean, listen, man. We're gonna see. We'll see. I think Middleton is a very interesting player.
Mike, Bird's first finals, Cornbread Maxwell was the MVP. Bird averaged 8 points in his first finals. Everybody's choked before. They just happened to win.
Yeah. I think Middleton's a very interesting player because he's like either lights out or hitting nothing.
But typically in the playoffs, what he has shown is that even when he is hitting nothing in the fourth quarter, he will start hitting something. And that's when they won their championship, is when he did those things.
Jay Short with the Super Chat says, top 5 influential West Coast tracks. Boys in the Hood, G-Thang, Regulate. Next episode, Captain Save a Ho. Honorable mention to B don't bitch don't kill my vibe. Okay. Well, you know what? They did have a Kendrick song there. The Kendrick song that was there was Mad City, and it was at number 3. So they say Mad City is a top 3 West Coast hip hop song of all time. You know what? Let me see this list real quick. I actually saw Glove posted this list. He posted G-Thang being number 1. And I was like, I thought the list was basically like all hip hop songs. So I looked up the list and it was West Coast. We saw that Crew tournament the BET's doing too. I want to speak a little briefly on that because it has some weird stuff going on with it. On who they constitute as a crew. You know they got Soul Aquarian on there?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's like, don't you have to actually have a Crew album to be considered a crew? Or at least a Crew song. Is there an actual Soul Aquarian song?
Definitely needs to be some Crew love. They definitely don't have a Protect Your Neck.
I don't consider Wu-Tang a crew. Protect Your Neck
or Watch for the Hook, is there?
I don't consider Wu-Tang a crew. Wu-Tang's a group.
Stranded on Death Row?
Wu-Tang's a group. They're not a crew, in my opinion. And we'll talk about that. Okay, so
it's like talking about like the difference between a clique and a clan now. What is this, criminal justice?
No, this is the thing. I think if you come out as a group and y'all have an album together or whatever, like, you're a group. I think a crew is like when solo acts come together, like West Side Connection. You know what I'm saying? Like people who are legit solo acts or, group acts like Rough Riders with, the Locks, DMX, Dragon, Eve. Like that's a crew. Like everybody kind of has already done their separate thing. Wu-Tang was a group first and then spread out. So it's like they're a group. Now, if you want to count like the Wu Significants and stuff like that, that's a whole crew, I think. You know what I mean?
No. I don't know what you mean.
How is that confusing? I think you just want to put Wu-Tang in the argument.
You can explain yourself as much as you want.
Okay, we're going to get to that part of the show. Joe Young says, you better get that 2-5 mics right because Nas, Hov are the best The best. I told you. I'm sorry. I told you guys don't do that. To Hove, Cube belongs next to good work, guys. I'm listening. Okay. Guess he doesn't agree with the fact that Cube is right there. We're gonna get to that part too. 36 Chambers with the super chat. Of course, 36 Chambers thinks they're a crew. Says that Kendrick pick was made specifically to justify K. Dot being the top 5 on their previous all-time list. We see what is being done. They're not slick. And to quote Drake, privileged rappers. Privileged rappers. Okay, so Rolling Stone rolled out this top 100 West Coast songs of all time. Do I need to go through the 100? Where do you want me to start? Because number 100 is Black Eyed Peas, Joints and Jams. Number 99 is Oaktown.
No. I think we need to ask the important questions like, what number is Born and Raised in Compton? Because it should be in the top 20.
I've never even heard this song. Hold up. Open Mic Eagle qualifiers?
That ain't what I asked you.
No, but I don't know where it's at. I'm going to have to skip around.
What the fuck? What is
I don't know what that is.
It's very problematic.
Somebody in the group tell us what's going on, man. Okay, this is what I'll do. Since they're going to do that, I'm going to start at 40. How about that? Is 40 good to start at?
Is it an E40 song? We don't know what
Vince Staple, North 40. Easy E, Boys in the Hood, 39.
Pause.
You said that's a top 50 hip hop song all time.
Ball the list up. Go ahead and ball the list up. Kobe, shoot.
JJ Fab, Supersonic, 38.
Pause.
I had that as a top 50 hip hop song all time.
Pause, Mike. Ball the list up. Ain't even no point in going through that.
Lil B, I'm God, 37.
Well, let me get this right. Listen to what you just said.
Yeah.
What record did you just name?
Lil B, I'm God.
It's better than Supersonic and Boys in the Hood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm out, Mike. I'm out.
Number 36, The Game, featuring 50 Cent. Hate it or love it. I like number 35, Coolio, Fantastic Voyage. I like that. Yeah, number 34, Can't Play With My Yo-Yo. You know what? That's one of my favorite female rap songs ever. That's a great record. She got like 4 or 5 verses on there, got a saxophone solo in there. The beat is banging, the hook is there, she's spitting. Yo-Yo came with one there. Shout out to Yo-Yo. Number 33.
The Hood is 39.
That's crazy, right?
That's all I've heard.
Nobody agrees with that.
I haven't heard anything else.
Number 33, Dr. Dre, Still DRE. Now, I disagree with this one.
Now you chime in.
Egyptian Lover, Egypt, number 31. That's an interesting choice. And then the signal went out. Okay, there we go. Ice-T, Colors, number 30.
I love Colors.
Black Alicia's Alphabet Acrobats, number 29. Man, rest in peace, man. But come on, man.
Isn't that the wrong song, too?
I think so. Feel That Way is the one, right? You know what? But that pick right there tells you a lot about who put together this list.
Where's Drop? Where's Drop and Running and Passing Me By the Far Side?
I saw Passing Me By was top 10. I did see that. Keep the Sneak, Super Hyphy, number 28.
Okay.
Loonies, I got 5 on it, 27. Afro Puffs, 26, Lady of Rage.
A little low.
Ice Cube, Dead Homies, 25. That's the Cube song you pick?
That's Ice Cube song?
Yeah.
I know a Good Day is probably on there.
Yeah, Good Day's lower, but still. Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. They could have picked A Bird in Hand, Once Upon a Time in the Projects.
The Nigga You Love to Hate.
You Love to Hate, yeah.
Warren G, 24, Regulate, featuring Nate Dogg, of course.
That's way low.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's like top 5-ish, Mike?
It is. 10 at least. YG featuring Nipsey Hussle, F Donald Trump, 23. Digital Underground, Do What You Like, 22. I wouldn't put that over Humpty. 21, Sugar Free, Why You Bullshitting? I
That's
can't.
too high for that.
That's
Where's
too
Humpty?
high, but I love Sugar Free. I'm glad Sugar Free got representation, but nah, that shouldn't be that high.
They're doing some misrepresentation though. It's like a miseducation, like Lauryn Hill said.
20, The Far Side, Running.
Okay.
19, Tyler the Creator, Yonkers.
No. No.
18, E40, Captain Saberho.
Wrong song.
Jay Short mentioned that.
Sprinkle Me, Mike.
I thought Sprinkle Me would have been the choice, but
Sprinkle Me. What is he doing?
But Jay Short, who's from the West Coast, he mentioned that too. So maybe they're not too far off. 17, Cypress Hill, How I Could Just Kill a Man.
Is that the wrong Cypress Hill song?
16, DJ Quick, Tonight.
It's definitely the wrong Quick song.
Born and Raised should be the one. 15, Rodney O and DJ Joe Cooley, Everlasting Bass. I like that choice, actually.
That's too high.
It's too high, but I like the fact that it was mentioned. Number 14, NWA, Fuck the Police. Number 13, Tupac, California Love. Number 12, Eazy-E, Real Motherfucking G's. That's interesting. Number 11, Nipsey Hussle featuring YG. Last time that I checked.
I like that selection. I like the last two selections, but I feel like the last two selections need to be further back. Eazy-E's Real Motherfucking G's. That's one of the best beats ever. Nobody ever talks about, Mike.
Yeah.
Beat stupid.
Yeah, beat. It's a beat for the times too. You can tell what year that is. Number 10, Ice-T, 6 in the Morning. I like that choice and that placement.
Somebody in there knows their stuff. At least one.
Right. Number 9, Mac Dre, Feeling Myself.
I like the pick, but I think it's too high once again.
It's too high. Number 8, Snoop Doggy Dogg, Gin and Juice.
Too low.
Where's my song? Where's What's My Name at? Number 7, Ice Cube, It Was a Good Day. Number 6, Too Short, Blow the Whistle. That's too high.
Wrong Too Short song.
Listen. I love Blow the Whistle. I think it's not Dr. Dre. I think it's Lil Jon's best beat he ever made. But nah, it's not. It's not better than Gin and Juice. It's not better than Good Day. I can't say that. Like, you know what I mean? I can't.
It's not better than any of these records that are in the top 10, in my opinion.
Nah, it's not. Number 5, Souls of Mischief, 93 to Infinity. You know, based on these choices, especially that alphabet, selection from Black Alicious, I think this is a Rapidy Rap fan. I think this is a backpacky fan who may or may not have a copy of the Marshall Mathers LP in their backpack. Number 4, Machiavelli featuring Outlaws, Hail Mary.
First of all, where's Dear Mama?
You know what? For this type of list, I get that, but I Get Around should be on this list. Very high.
I don't care what list it is, Mike. How you
That's
having
very
a
West
West
Coast.
Coast song list? How you having a West Coast song list without Dear Mama?
I'm gonna have to see where it's at. Number 3,
Kobe. Trash.
Kendrick Lamar featuring MC8, Mad City. Number 2, NWA, Straight Outta Compton, and number 1, Dr. Dre featuring Snoop Doggy Dogg, Nothing But a G Thing.
Money Trees or Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe would be the Kendrick choice, and it wouldn't be that high. But I would put Money Trees maybe in the top 20 if you felt that way.
Yeah, I think that's a case for Money Trees. There's at least a case for Money Trees to be where Yonkers for Tyler the Creator is.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Critical Mass with the super chat says, y'all check that Dear Mama out yet? Thoughts so far? I like it so far. I've been watching it, yes. I'm 1 episode in.
I'm about 15 minutes in.
Jay Short with the super chat says, there is no G thing without the formula by DLC. Media is trying to limit West Coast to LA and starting with the Chronic. Interesting.
DLC's from Texas though, so wouldn't that count as a Southern rap album?
That's a good question. But then you're gonna get the New York Pac people in here too. And don't get offended when I say that, guys. I know everybody goes crazy when I say that, but I was watching the Dear Mama documentary and they explained his New York life, or he explained his New York life. And yeah, Pac's a West Coast MC. Joe Young with the super chat says, "I'm with you 100 with your top five list. That's the right order. You had Cube over Hove. That's all I'm saying. Mike can't wait to go to the rap round table. I can't wait. Getting everything together for it." Matt Max with the super chat says, "Cali Love is the most overrated Pac song. To Live and Die in LA is better, and A Good Day has to be one of the greatest kickback stories in hip hop history. Definitely. And I've always liked To Live and Die in LA over California Love. Unpopular opinion, I like the California Love remix better than I like the original."
Hold on, when you say the original, you talking about the version that's on the actual album?
I like the one that's actually on the album. The remix one where they were at the pool or whatever. Yeah, on the video.
I don't agree with you at all.
Yeah, most people don't, but it's something about that beat that feels more West Coast to me. I don't know.
There's something about it. I feel like, like with the top back at the right time, I feel what you're saying, but overall, no.
Now, granted, if I, as an executive or whatever, let's just say hypothetically, I'm out here trying to sell records or putting records out to sell. If I heard both of those, yes, I'm putting out the one that they put out. But me personally, I actually like the remix one better. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, 93 Till Infinity being backpackers is problematic statement, Mike. That and Feeling Myself are huge tracks at 30. At 30, I could tell you that those were foundational for the whole generation of kids when I was young. No. That's not a knock. It's just the fact that to recognize that record so high on a West Coast list, it lets you know what type of listener put together this list. I agree. That's the kind of shit I was into. I mean, clearly, we were young Outkast fans at the time, and Outkast was clearly influenced by 93 Till Infinity. So it's not a knock. It just lets you know what type of hip hop listener put this list together. Matt Max in the super chat says, "Coop, Dear Mama ain't all that. Changes is better. Hold your head better. Keep your head up. Brenda's got a baby. Dear Mama is cool." I disagree with that, Mad Max.
First of all, Mad Max, nobody asked you. And this and comments like that is why nobody asked you.
I can't believe Mad Max isn't high on Dear Mama. Like, I don't understand it.
What type of young black man are you exactly, Mad Max?
I can't believe it, man. Jay Short with the super chat says,
rearing.
It says, "I think Mess with One Love." He says, "I think Mess with One Love more than Sprinkle Me." Out here, and the entire online manosphere is based on the song "Captain Save a Ho." Just saying.
I feel you, but even like if they want to go with like some more notoriety, it's like, what if they went with Yay Area? You know what I'm saying? Because that was kind of like his breakthrough. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if you heard what Cameron's been saying about Jordan Poole or whatever, but Captain Save a Ho was I guess necessary for that conversation. E40 though. I think E40's been getting a lot of props in the mainstream lately. I mean, do you notice that?
I think rightfully so. I mean it's just one of, it's kind of funny. It's like you never know when your due is coming or how it's coming, but think about how long he's been in the game and how long he's been doing it, and like where he actually really is.
I feel like his notoriety with the Golden State Warriors has probably helped that. Because he's a lot more visible now than I guess he's ever been. And, with Golden State winning and, consistently being out there, he's kind of like the Spike Lee for Golden State. I think that kind of has elevated his legacy in the mainstream, too. Because now they're recognized. Mad Max of the super chat says,
Very insightful that you said that.
I think that
I
has
like
something
that,
to
Mike.
do with it.
No. You're right. I totally think that has something to do with it. Very insightful point.
Mad Max of the super chat says, "Cause Dear Mama is alright. I don't care for the beat, and I think the other song I said just spoke to me more. I'll take Me Against the World over Dear Mama."
I'm about to say, listen, I like So Many Tears more personally. I
do
like
too,
Ambitions as a Writer more personally. I like Picture Me Rolling more personally. I like No More Pain more personally. But objectively speaking,
yeah, I agree with you on all
you know what I mean?
fronts.
Like a Tupac record that I love that it's like I would never like play in the verses for him. Like Mike, that bomb first on Machiavelli, the way Machiavelli starts, that verse on bomb first. Oh, that's pretty vicious.
People love Bomb First.
Bomb first is epic, man.
And you know what? Real quick, I'm gonna go through 60 to 41. Real quick. Spice won. Trigger Got No Heart. That's 60. San Quinn and Andre Nicotina. Ayo. 59.
They definitely got a West Coast head to do this, Mike. But that's what I'm saying. Is this them trying to make their rap credibility list by doing this? Like, cause it's just like I don't know what they're doing. It's confusing. I'm confused. I'm sorry.
Tiger, Rack City, 58. MC Hammer, Let's Get It Started, 57. I like that pick because that's my favorite Hammer song.
Rack City is too. Rack City should be like in the 30, 40 areas. Mike.
Rack City was big. Kid Frost.
Rack City's a shit.
Yeah. Kid Frost, La Raza, 56. The Conscious Daughters, Something to Ride To, 55. Schoolboy Q, Man of the Year, 54. I like that pick. Roddy
See, that's
Ricch.
what I mean. Okay, so hold on, Paul. They picked Man of the Year of all the stuff to pick on Oxymoron. That's what I mean. Like, they're ahead, but it's like, why that record? Like, you think that's better than Yay Yay? Or, what's the other joint on
Man
there?
of the Year was the single, though.
Studio's a better single.
Studio is a better single. I agree.
It's a better beat. It's more, in fact, yeah. Him and BJ, they got down.
I've been waiting in the studio trying to get to you, baby. Roddy Ricch, The Box, 53. Quasimodo, Microphone Mathematics, 52.
Airhead. Where's Del the Funky Homo Sapien?
He's got to be on here. 51, here it is. Tupac, Digital Underground, I Get Around.
What's this cool, man?
They just cut me off there. I don't think that I'm able to get anything lower than... Oh.
Got ops in the chat, Mike.
I'm sure. Oh, no, it says load more. Okay, there we go. 50. The Far Side, Passing Me By. There it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Passing Me By the Far Side is 50. And Boys in the Hood...
It's 39.
Is 39. But Mad City's number 3? And Dear Mama Still Where?
Yeah, I haven't seen Dear Mama yet. Check this one out at 49. Snoop Dogg featuring Corrupt, Nate Dogg, and Warren G. It Ain't No Fun at 49. So, Mad City's better than that song?
Where's Let Me Ride?
Good question.
Where's Let Me Ride?
Drakeo the Ruler, Flu Flamin', number 48.
And if you want to be ahead, where's Little Ghetto Boy?
Yeah. RBL Posse, Don't Give Me No Bama, 47. Sir Mix-a-Lot, Posse on Broadway, 46.
It's not a bad pick. It's a nice little sleeper pick.
Too Short, Freaky Tales, 45.
That was a Too Short song I was expecting to be higher.
Yeah. Freestyle Fellowship, Seventh Seal, 44. The DLC.
Life Too Short. Remember Life Is Too Short? Don't you think that should be on here somewhere?
Yeah.
Like, not the album, the album, but the actual song.
No, I agree. The DLC, It's Funky Enough, 43.
You need to be a little bit
further. Wait a minute. MCA, Straight Menace, 42. Now just switch that out with the number 3 spot and we're good.
Right, Mike. Thank you. Get out my head.
So Mike, wait a minute.
Straight Menace 42, Mad City is number 3. It's like, no.
Wait a minute.
Swap. What are we doing?
How is Man City
Chill.
39 spots ahead of Straight up Menace?
Chill.
Come on, man.
No way. Like, no way, Mike. What are we doing?
That's crazy. The Jacka featuring Andre Nicotini, Glamorous Life, 41.
No, Mike. The price of chicken right now is crazy.
Jay Short with the super chat says, I agree with 36 Chambers. 93 Till Infinity was actually more representative of North Cal youth than 40 or Too Short. Well, that's what's up. It said this guy's list was a Google list. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, respect to the list. That has Andre Nicotino on it. They flexing some of the West Coast knowledge here. Agree or disagree with the order, but some of these are nice.
No, that's what I mean. No. They're flexing their knowledge, but it's like in the process of trying to flex your knowledge, are you misappropriating the list? Because let me tell you something. Media truly does control the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And it still does. And I'll give you an example of media controlling the narrative. Well, Mike, in the time that we've done this show, we've started to help and shape and control the narrative. Yeah. I got people hitting me up since we've had Armin on the show talking to me about Armin and how dope his project is. Now, Mike, here's how this worked. Somebody reached out to me behind the scenes. It's like, yo, you know who that is, right? I was like, yeah, I've heard a couple things from him. I was like, no, you really need to check him out and check out his new stuff. So I did. After I checked out the songs that he had released, I went, you know what I'm saying, and I hollered at his people, got his info, boom, 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 bam, started piecing it and putting it together. Now, as a media, so quote unquote, like a personality or whatever you'd like to call it, hip hop head down here in Atlanta and him being in LA, what I did by exposing him to our audience is exposed him to a demographic that wasn't familiar to him. Mm-hmm. That's how the media helps control the narrative.
That's what media is supposed to do. That's what promotion is, you know?
Hold on. So people have to understand, I brought this up before. So Howard Cosell is known as a great journalist and a great media personality because of all those white guys in the room. He got what Ali was putting down, not just on camera, but behind camera. Mm-hmm. And because of that, Ali's like, no, you come with me. That's what the media is supposed to do. That's what an intelligent journalist does. So you have to understand what your power is and what narratives to disperse. Mm-hmm. Part of the reason why I did an interview with him and part of the reason why I wanted to come back on his album release is because, no. I remember the interview. I listened to how he was talking to me. I listened to the songs that I heard. I'm like, no. We need to expose this guy to our audience. Our audience is going to take to this guy. Mm-hmm. That's how the media helps control the narrative. So I'm speaking on something that we've done to help control the narrative for the positive. And so that's how we know that the negative occurs. Like, because now that we've risen to a point of actually being able to affect somebody else's narrative in a positive way, well, if we know that we've done this positively and proactively and for something forward thinking and progressive for hip hop, well, I mean, how many motherfuckers is really just doing it for themselves and doing something detracting or something negative or want to just do something to get more clicks or to get to the money faster, get to the subscribers faster? You get what I'm saying?
Right. No, it's a slow burn.
So that media presence is strong, and y'all taking the Armin is proof positive of it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Mad Max with the super chat says, I know Pac's verse on Bomb first. Word for word, Coop. First verse I memorized. He had me on my big. I hit the scene and ducking from the guillotine stare. Yeah. Bomb first is heavy.
It is. That's what I mean.
He really knows how to start an album off, though. AB Studios with the super chat says, fun fact, Timbaland's Ghost produced No More Pain by Tupac. Timbaland was working for Devontae at the time because he had a team called The Basement. Yeah.
Charlotte, North Carolina in the house, fam. I've been
we when we did our Timbaland and Neptune's verses on Patreon, Coop definitely used that record. LP with the super chat says, that new Conway sounds like I've heard it already. We're going to get to that album too. Michael
Yeah,
Williams in the super chat
yeah,
says,
I want to talk about Kanye.
if you were making
Conway.
the if you were making a best athlete to the 21st century list, how would you rank them? LeBron, Floyd, Tiger, Messi, Bolt, Ronaldo, Brady, Serena, Kobe.
Okay, Ronaldo didn't win anything, so take him off the list. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, that's the first thing. You need to win something to be on the list.
I think LeBron, Brady, Serena, um, definitely Tiger and Floyd. Um, I mean I'm going them first. Kobe's there too, of course. Um, who am I forgetting?
Messi was on that list, and so was Usain Bolt.
Oh, well, if we're gonna go Hussein Bolt, then I think we gotta do Michael Phelps as well. Um, I mean, if we're talking about Olympic athletes. Listen, man, I'm
Okay,
not even gonna pretend to know anything about
so
soccer, but I hear
I'm gonna
Messi's
tell
the
you.
deal.
I'm gonna tell you how my hierarchy is designed, and tell you why. I'm gonna pick 4 people based on like this. I would actually go Brady 1. I would go Serena 2,
Hmm.
Tiger 3, and LeBron 4. Here's why. First of all, Brady's part of the greatest NFL dynasty in history, and he's the centerpiece of it, and that's clear.
And it started in the actual year 2000. So yeah, he got in year one.
He literally got in year one. But not only that, Mike, of all the sports, the hardest one for one player to impact is football. It's the team sport of all the team sports. That and soccer, I would say. But NFL rosters carry 53 players.
Yeah, and to consecutively win, it's proven that that is the most difficult sport to do it in.
Yeah. And so the fact that he went
Yeah,
to 10 Super Bowls, won 7, and then
yeah.
did it with another organization, it's like, no,
He did it with different personnel within the first organization he
constantly.
was in. Yeah,
Yeah. And he did it with different schemes, different players,
yeah.
different offensive coordinators, different defensive coordinators. So that's why I would put him at number 1. And nobody's walking around with 7 rings.
I don't think anybody will from that
Think about it.
position.
Think about it. No. Period, Mike. Nobody's walking around with 7 rings. So
I
it's
mean,
like,
a kicker could luck up and it could happen on some Robert
that ain't
Ory
happening,
shit.
Mike.
But yeah,
It's not happening because you would have to play. You would have to play with Mahomes, and then
yeah,
play with Lamar, and then play with Allen, and then
yeah,
and then play with Herbert, and then it would have to go your way.
yeah.
You know what I mean? After that, I would go Serena because, well, I think that had, barring the actual child that she bore and was carrying while she won a major, I think she probably would have the record. But as far as like one-on-one matchup goes,
Mm-hmm.
I think the only person that I've seen as fearsome as Serena at their peak, like as far as like, a one-on-one, is Barry Bonds in the batter box, Mike.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's who she was at her peak. It was like Barry
Yeah.
Bonds stepping into the batter box. It's like, well, if she's on her A game,
Yeah.
50 minutes. You're
Yeah.
going to be off the court in 50 minutes. And that's if you were a top 10 player. And she's got all the hardware to prove it. Won her first major in 1999. And I think won her last one. I think that Australian Open win was like 2018, I think.
What did she just? Oh no, she didn't just win. She got far. Yeah.
I think Tiger. I can get into that for a minute. And then LeBron. And I'll tell you why it's LeBron is because he's impacted. I don't think anybody that doesn't have a signature move or isn't a great shooter other than Magic has impacted the game like LeBron. And all the other players that are comparable to him really do come from other eras. Think about it. Like, he's not the shooter that Kobe or Mike or Bird is. He's not the power that that Shaq is, even though he might be close. He doesn't have Hakeem or Kareem's like footwork or post game. Like, for everything that he has, it's like most of the time when you're a player like LeBron, it's like guys like LeBron, like usually aren't the focal point of rings like that unless it's magic. Like guys like that can't shoot, like a Barkley, a Malone. You know what I mean? Like those guys usually don't win rings, Mike. You know what I mean? Like this man has been to 10 finals, and it's another team sport. And I put him at 4 because he's influenced the team sport the most the last 20 years. But he's also in a sport where the dominant player can impact it like that. But he's proven to be that.
What he's done in the 2000s is he's become the all-time scorer in NBA history, and he's top 4 in assists.
And I'll tell you why.
Like, I want to say top 15 in rebounds too, something like that.
And I'll tell you why I don't pick Kobe too. And I'll be clear because I would probably pick Kobe for a game, or I'd probably pick Kobe for a series too. Mm-hmm. Like if it was a series and you were giving me LeBron or Kobe in the playoffs for a series, it's like no, you take LeBron. That's fine. Go have fun. I'm taking Kobe.
Right.
But overall, and this is just how the cookie crumbles, Mike. No, he got 5 rings. No, 3 of those rings he was not the man. Like, when you talk about Steph right now, what do we always say? It's like, it's like people talk about this Steph LeBron thing. It's like, no, like, he wasn't the man for 2 of those rings.
LeBron was placed.
You talking about Steph got 4, LeBron got 4. It's like, no. You mean it's like Steph got 2 as the man, KD got 2 as the man, LeBron got 4 as the man. Well, that's what you mean.
LeBron also got
finals MVPs.
LeBron got handed the keys at 18 years old, whereas Kobe kind of was able to ease into the position where he was coming off the bench. He had Eddie Jones out there, and you know what I mean. And when he did get in, of course, and Sabalas, and then when he did get inserted into the lineup, you got Shaq right there. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to his fault. It's just when you look at the other guy, it's a little bit closer to what Jordan had to deal with by basically going to a team that had nothing. You know what I mean?
People understate this, and I'm not taking anything away from Kobe because I think that's part of what made him great. He did walk into a situation with a man who was ascending into a top 10 player all time when he got drafted.
With also, and this matters too, with a great organization. You know, I love the city of Cleveland.
Teachers like Eddie Jones.
I mean, look who got him, the logo. You know what I'm saying? That's who recruited him. Like, all that stuff matters. You know what I mean? LeBron had none of those things. And I know a lot of people like to shit on LeBron because he tries to be a GM and tries to make his teams and build his teams. Well, he never really had anybody to do it for him when he was younger. So it's like...
And I would feel differently about Kobe versus LeBron if he would have taken one of those finals MVPs off of Shaq. Mm-hmm. And the fact that if you go look at Shaq's numbers in that Detroit series and go look at Kobe's numbers, and it's like, well, if you were picking, it's like, it's like one guy shot 37% from the floor. Guess who it wasn't? Because it wasn't Shaq. Shaq don't shoot 37% at the floor. Like old Shaq couldn't do that when he could barely jump or move.
Tayshaun Prince was a problem for him. He hadn't seen anything like that.
McGrady.
No, I mean, yes and no. Tayshaun was a freak of nature. Is how long he was. Like, he was way longer than.
Oh, Scotty.
I think he's longer than that. Like, Tayshaun looked like an alien out there.
Not that much longer.
Check out his wingspan. I'm sure his wingspan is crazy.
Like 7'1", 7'2", Mike. That's what I'm saying. Scotty ain't no regular dude. Scotty's 6'7", like 7'1", 7'2" wingspan. Unless Tayshaun's wingspan is like Durant's, like 7'4".
I feel like it may be. Look it up real quick.
He's 6'9" with a 7'4" wingspan?
Look it up real quick. Jay Short with the super chat says, list also must include rapping Forte. Ain't no player. That's OG Bay culture, 100%. Also, don't fight the feeling. Songs have been sampled 100 times. Yeah. CJ Kidd with the super chat, $20 super chat. Showing love says, I have to correct you. OG's The Bitch in You came out in 1995 as a response to the West Coast Slaughterhouse on Mac 10's album. Cube responded to Common on Bow Down. So Cube did come back with a great project after that diss. Thank you for the research, CJ Kidd. CJ Kidd in the building. Mad Max to the super chat says, Floyd is first. He's the greatest boxer ever. Serena number 2. Coop, women empowerment don't mean just give them stuff. Floyd was 50-0. Stop it.
No. See, Serena beat everybody who was great while they were great. So fuck all that.
I think Floyd deserves a spot.
No, see, the way tennis works, you play whoever is best at the end, regardless. You don't have no control over the situation. She had to beat whoever was the best because that's who was left 23 times. You know how many finals this woman been in, Mike?
Yeah, it's a lot.
You want to talk? Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me.
Yo, real quick, for the people that have been asking about these free According to Hip Hop shirts, the link's in the community section. And actually, today is going to be the last day that we're actually doing that. So go click, get your free shirts, get it sent out to you.
No, Mike. Tayshawn's wingspan is 7'2", which is the same as Tracy McGrady's, which is an inch shorter than Scottie Pippen's 7'3".
It just looked different, I guess. I don't know.
So Kobe had seen it before. Now McGrady 6'8", Scottie 6'7", same wingspans, comparable size. Those guys are actually bigger than Tayshawn, so they should have posed more of a problem physically if Kobe would have tried to body them and all or got into his post-game day.
Maybe Tayshawn was just a better defender than McGrady.
Not than Scottie. Not even.
No, I'm not saying that. But see, Kobe didn't have to face Scottie in his prime. Scottie was washed in Portland or somewhere.
He wasn't washed in Portland, Mike, but he.
Well, like I'm trying to give him an out because he played like he was washed in that fourth quarter. Ain't no excuse for that shit. He was missing layups.
He just gave Wallace the ball.
That was bad. That was bad. They should have won that final.
They should have went to the finals
and won. Yeah. Mad Max
they had the better team. Yeah. They had the better team, but here's the problem. You know what happened in that series? That's actually the series where Kobe became Kobe. And what happened by the end of that series is that the four best players on the floor were Shaq, Kobe, Rasheed Wallace, and Scottie Pippen. You see, but when the series started, it went Shaq, Rasheed, Scottie, Kobe. By the end of the series, it was Shaq, Kobe, Rasheed, Scottie. Series over.
Mad Max of the Super Chat says, Floyd so dominant. You got people who wanted him at 40 to fight guys like Errol Spence. Most world champs ever he beat.
Nobody.
CJ Kid with the Super Chat says, fun fact, Havoc produced the B in You, the original before Pete. He's on the song, ad-libbing, Common's rhymes, and does the outro. It's Common over Infamous beats. That's dope. I need to go back and listen to the original because the only one that I listened to is the Pete Rock version.
I heard one on a mixtape a long, long time ago, Mike. It's been that's that.
I was just listening to the Takeover, and I'm like, Takeover's the top 5 diss record all time. Yeah.
I agree.
Great diss
record.
record.
I never disagreed with that. It's just not better than,
Yeah, and I think that the loss that Jay took with Ether, is more predicated on Super Ugly than it is Takeover. Like, Takeover had nothing to do with that. He just didn't respond appropriately. And then, back in those days, by the time that he responded with that Blueprint 2 response, it was already a loss. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people I'm gonna tell you what. It didn't look good when he did the Blueprint 2 song, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because even though it's a dope record, that's when the culture officially lets you know it's like, no, we move a little faster than that now, fam. That's that old school shit. Like, no, it's already over, dude. Like, you already lost. Like,
but he admitted that he lost on the Blueprint 2.
Right. But it made him look like he was holding on to something. That everybody else is like, no, dude. It's like, we already passed that. You didn't even have to do that. You already took that L.
He's like, yeah, I got more to say. But you know what? When you think about it, and like I said, I was listening to the Takeover today. When he said, you know what, did you know what, well, you know who, let's keep that between me and you. It sounds like he already had plans to do Super Ugly in that way anyway. Mm-hmm. And when he heard Ether, I feel like he should have made an audible, but he stuck with the plan, and it didn't work out.
I'm going to tell you what the problem is. You want to know what? I mean, and I don't have confirmation of this. This is just, this is what do they call it? What does Madman, hating ass call it? Cooping? Yeah. Mike, if you listen to Is That Your Bitch? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like in retrospect, what is he talking about exactly? And so to be honest with you, that's one of those things that if that record was what it sounds like in retrospect, based on that bar on the takeover, because who was he talking about on that record, Mike?
Yeah,
like the original version.
Yeah, looking back on it, yeah.
Why you home alone? Why she out with me?
Room 112
hotel balcony. Why she say, dog, you can call the house for me. That's no respect at all. You better check her, dog. She keep begging me to hit her raw so she can have my kids and say it was yours. How foul is she? And you wifed her. Shit, I put the rubber on tighter. Hugged her on, but that's not your bitch. You share that girl. Who's he talking to?
Don't let him hear Daddy Earl. It'll make him sick that his favorite chick ain't saving it. Unfaithful bitch. Yeah.
So to be honest with you, the real diss would have been if he would have held that in the chamber and then released that. You get what I'm saying? That would have been a real chess move. And the fact that he just gave that record to Bleak like that too, it's like, no, you're real. You actually already spent your real shot. If that was the angle you were going to take, you already emptied your clip, in my opinion. So chess, not checkers.
I think, and maybe Drake should have learned this too when he was coming at, when he was doing the Pusha T thing. Coming for the wives and the baby moms and stuff like that, it's not gonna get you a win.
And here's the thing about it, and this is what I'm saying. These are street dudes.
It never works.
Don't get you. We all know it's like, oh, that's what you got to do. It's like, oh, because when you start, this is what I'm saying. When you start bringing the women into it, it's like, well, you know, a gangster's role. It's like the whole point is to keep the women and the kids like out.
Well, when you do that,
when you insert them, it's like a sign of vulnerability.
Exactly. When you insert them, it lets people know you've gotten emotional about this, other than strategic.
Yes, that's what I said.
And that's very out of character. Yeah, and that's very out of character for somebody like a Jay. You know what I mean? Like, he's a very strategic thinker. So when he goes there, it's like, okay, now this is turned into something else.
So this is what I'm saying. So that should be something that it's like, oh, if he was making Is That Your Bitch like that, that's one of those records that strategically, if your emotions aren't in it,
right,
you hold it.
Yeah, because Is That Your Chick, that verse and all those verses, it's kind of like, fuck it. It's not like you flexing. It's like, you know, you better talk to her. Because I wouldn't take that kind of disrespect. You know, it's coming from a different position.
It's coming from a place, Mike, and if you look at the timeline, you know, timeline kind of matching up a little bit, you know, based on, you know what I mean, how you can piece things together if you see the picture. And so, like, yeah, but that's what I mean is it's like, that's why you always should be mindful. Like,
yes, like takeover is strategic. Leroy Green said that real quick. I want to, you know, it is strategic. No, the response isn't.
Right. What I'm saying is that he may have already had the appropriate response for where he was taking it based on the takeover, and he didn't strategically move in the whole process of it. Like, war starts early, Mike.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't get to that point in 2001.
Yeah.
That was building up. Nas on We Will Survive, and they claim to be New York's king. It ain't about that. Like, no. That was 98, 99, nigga. It's like, no. That's around the same time. Think about this.
I didn't think about that on We Will Survive. Yeah, that's crazy.
Think about it, Mike. That's April of 99.
That's crazy. I didn't even think about that.
December 31st, 1999 is when I heard Is That Your Bitch. You get what I'm saying, Mike?
Yeah, they claim to be New York's king. It ain't about that.
It ain't about that.
Yeah, that sounds different now. Like, we were hearing it as it was in the moment before all this stuff bubbled.
Yeah. No, it's different now. Yeah. And so now go look at Is That Your Bitch. It's like, no, I remember hearing the original version of Volume 3 on December 29th. We got a copy at Manifest. And Is That Your Bitch was on there, and so was Anything. And I heard that, and I was like, I don't know who he talking about, but because he don't rap like that, Mike, because the Jay that talks about women like that, no, that's Big Pimpin' Jay. That's Cashmere Thoughts Jay. It's like, oh no, that was something else.
And then when Twista came in, I'm like, yo, man, I got to have a copy of this song. Why ain't this on the regular one? Man, Max with the super chat says that's those Napster days when we were downloading stuff that wasn't on the CD. It took you like 10 hours to get one song. No, but I had a CD, but no, people don't understand this is that, I guess, and this is part of, I think, how all the Lance and the Unstuff got from the bootlegging. It's like, no, some of those copies went out because we got one in our store. Mad Max of the super chat says, was LeBron the man for all four? His chips is mad shaky. Bron got locked up by JJ and and wasted Wade's performance like let's relax with Bron. Mad Max hates Bron. You are wildin'. What you gonna say, Mad Max?
Hold on.
When LeBron beats Steph and them, what you gonna say?
No, Mike. He did waste Wade's performance against Dallas. Wade played brilliant against Dallas.
Dallas was gonna win that series anyway. That team was stacked. It is what it is.
Mike, in retrospect, you don't realize how stacked that team was until you read out the team and you're like, oh yeah.
No, I knew then. Like I said, you could go back on my Facebook, man. I picked Dallas in the series.
We argued about it. I remember telling you that you were nuts.
I'm like, no, man, this team too deep. They had no depth. Chris White with the super chat says Kobe had no business winning those last 2 championships, and he did it. He went to 3 finals back to back. The West was stacked. I will give him that. Kobe did continue to go in a very, very stacked Western Conference, and him going up against that Boston squad, that says a lot. It was kind of now obviously Pau Gasol is a all-time great and an all-star and a huge player for them, but it was damn near. It was 2-on-4, I would say. You know what I mean? And Rondo fits in that fold too. When you got KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and Rondo, and then you got on the other side Kobe, Gasol, who's the third best player? Lamar Odom, maybe? Like
Andrew Bynum. Andrew Bynum was still relevant in the
I like Andrew Bynum. Yeah, Andrew Bynum was good.
No, the fours are comparable because here's why. If you're ranking the players, Kobe 1, KG 2, Paul Pierce 3. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But then, Mike, you would probably go
Gasol.
Actually, Gasol, then Ray.
Right, yeah.
And then you would probably go Rondo and then Odom. But then it would be Bynum. You know what I'm saying? It's comparable, but Kobe, this is what I'm saying. Well, KG's a top 25 player. Kobe's a top 10 player. So that's the gap between the two best. You know what I mean? So Kobe is clearly still the best player on the floor over Pierce and even KG.
I want to address this too, since people want to say that about Kobe, as they should. He was an all-time great. But this is what we're going to say about that Dallas team that people keep acting like shouldn't have beaten the Miami Heat. They did sweep that Kobe Bryant Lakers team that we're talking about. And that was the last time we saw Phil Jackson coaching on an NBA floor. They got swept by this Dallas team. This Dallas team wasn't no chumps. And this was the Lakers coming off of a finals.
Hey, Mike. So, Mike, guess what? So Dallas won the championship that year. Do you know what happened to them in the playoffs the next year?
I don't remember. They got bounced, I'm sure.
Mike, they got swept in the first round by this team. Oh, what was the team? Oh, yeah, Oklahoma City, led by Kevin Durant, that same stacked team that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So when people talk about him and his legacy, and I'm like, oh, Coop, you're overrating KD. It's like, no, I remember when he swept the champs.
It's true. That's why I would
Mike, he took Kobe out once, too.
Yeah.
He took Duncan out twice. This is before Steph.
The West is tough. And that's one thing that people can say about LeBron. He's been in the East and hadn't had to fight those type of battles that Durant did. And I will give him that.
Durant's more battle tested than LeBron as far as pre-finals. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He beat Kobe in a playoff series. He beat Dirk in a playoff series. He beat Duncan twice.
These are all champions. All champions.
And those are all championship teams that were still stacked when he beat them. Like, he didn't beat the bad version of those teams. No, he beat those teams while they were still in championship form.
That's a fair point. Esquire with the super chat says, the help argument works both ways. If Kobe doesn't play with Shaq, he may not win as much, and the gap between his stats and Bron may not be as wide. I'm going to tell you this, Esquire. I don't know how old you are. But I remember watching those Laker teams. And I say this respectfully. I think Kobe's one of the greatest players ever, especially for that position.
Shaq's the man.
But they would have won that championship with Eddie Jones there, with fucking whoever you want to mention at the shooting guard position. They would have been fine.
Here's what I'll tell you.
Who was going to beat him?
Because of Shaq's injury, because of the Indiana series, Mike, is where I would tell you that if they would have had McGrady or Iverson instead of Kobe, they probably still would have moved on. But if they wouldn't have had one of those three guys, it would be 2 rings and not 3. So I am going to give Kobe some credit about that Indiana series.
I don't think they would have beaten Portland without Kobe. I will say that.
Correct. That's what I mean
Now,
by the
that
end of
fourth
series,
quarter that you were just talking about,
Kobe, Mike. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that fourth quarter you're talking about, yeah, that may not have happened without Kobe. But all the other stuff, man, well, nobody gonna beat those guys.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like Kobe was like having games in that playoffs, but like when people talk about young Kobe, like the legend of young Kobe, no. Legend of young Kobe starts in that Portland series.
Yeah, in that quarter, in that game, in Portland.
But it was an ascension. If you watch the series, it's like, oh man, like this.
I remember watching that. I was screaming at my TV.
It's like, hold on. It's like, oh wait, he's starting to cross Scotty up. Oh, hold on. Oh shit, he done figured it out. We got a problem. The second best player done figured it out. We got a problem.
Listen, as a Jordan and Pippen Chicago Bulls fan, I was so disappointed in Scotty in that game, in that day.
It was game 7. His knees were weak, and he was playing against somebody that was ascending into being a top 10 player. It was a wrap.
Yeah, it was young legs versus old legs. Because I think Kobe was still, Kobe was early 20s. Pippen was mid 30s.
So. Yeah, Kobe was like 24. Scotty was like 34, 35.
Yeah. I don't even know if Kobe was 24. This is 2000. He was 18 in 96. Yeah, he was like 22 or something.
Is it? Hold on, let me see.
Yeah.
That's the 2000-2001 season.
Yeah.
I
think that was the 99-2000 season.
No, 99-2000 is San Antonio.
Oh, okay. Well, that was the second? No, I thought that was their first championship. San
Antonio won 1, and then the Lakers won 3, and then San Antonio came back and won their second one.
No, because I thought that LA won 2000, 2001, and 2002, and then Detroit won in 3.
No, Detroit won in 4. Detroit won in 4. San Antonio won in 3.
Okay. But so they did win in 2000, though, right?
Yes, 2000, 2001, 2002 is the Lakers. 2003 is the Spurs. Yeah. 04 is the Pistons. 05 is the Spurs. 06 is the Heat. 07 is the Spurs. 08 is the 08 is
Yeah, that was when the Lakers beat Orlando, right?
No, that's Boston. And then and then it's the Lakers. The Lakers.
Yeah, that was back to back.
Yeah.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, with the new info, is Ice Cube greater than Jay-Z on the list now? Oh yeah, that was the reason why you pushed it back.
I mean, so how you feel about this? It's like, okay, so this is what I'm saying. So even if we were to have this conversation, so what you're telling me is that I think West Side Connection's album, which is a group album, is better than what Jay did on the Black album, because it's still Jay even with that. You get what I'm saying? Because if it's the Black album versus the West Side Connection album, like, it's still not Ice Cube. And then Jay still has other solid projects after that, like Watch the Throne, collaboratively speaking. Personally, even though the Blueprint 3 is heavy collaborative, it is still a very dope project. American Gangster, Mike. American Gangster, you know what I'm saying? So when I mean recovered, it's like, no, Jay still had a whole nother career after.
He recovered in a way where it seemed like he wasn't even affected by the loss.
That's what I mean. Yeah. It's like, no.
Esquire with the super chat says, by the way, I never received my A2HH trivia game. LOL. Oh, we'll get that to you. Send your mailing address to info@accordingtohiphop.com. We'll get that out to you tomorrow.
We'd like to apologize for the inconvenience and the delay in this matter is how the email is going to read.
Right. No, we'll get that out ASAP. Get your tracking number, all those things. Mad Max with the super chat says, I remember CB saving the Heat versus the Spurs. Bron was choking. Bosh passed to Ray, saved Bron's legacy. Bron was Ben Simmons until G6 to Game 6. Man, that was an interesting play. I will say this, man. I remember they were about to lose, the Heat that is, to Boston because Bosh was out, and then Bosh came and changed things. I think Bosh doesn't get the credit that he deserves in that collective, I remember Bosch always being the scapegoat if it wasn't Eric Spoelstra. And now that we see Eric Spoelstra is actually a really good coach, we just couldn't tell it with all the talent that he had back then. And it does seem like Bosch didn't get his credit. Bosch is the person that allowed that play to be made where Ray Allen was able to hit that shot. And no
Oh
one
yeah.
talks about that.
No. That's one of the. I mean, this is what I mean. So, how about this, Mike? You remember the shot Robert Ory and Derek Fisher hit?
Mm-hmm.
Those
Derek
were Shaq
Fisher's
and
shot
Kobe
was
teams.
crazy.
Like that's what I'm saying. It's like no, Sacramento probably goes to that finals if Ory doesn't hit that shot. Because they pretty much had the series in hand. People forget that was in the Forum and Sacramento was up. That was to tie the series if memory serves.
Yeah, that Sacramento team was good.
The
I'm going to say this,
The
man.
Sacramento team was like the Boston team, except for you could count on Mike Bibby and Chris Webber more than you could count on Pip and Rasheed.
Oh, straight up. And as
Straight
much
up.
as I love Jason Williams, Mike Bibby came to that team and elevated that team.
He provided them the stability that they need. They weren't just a regular season team. They became a playoff caliber team that could play postseason basketball.
Yeah, because as exciting as Jason Williams was to watch, he was a turnover machine. And I like Jason Williams.
Great backup point guard for Miami.
Yeah. That shot that
Or
Derek
starting point
Fisher
guard sharing
made,
duty. Yeah.
that shot that Derek Fisher made, it was
Against the Spurs.
unbelievable. And you know, before then, they would tell you with a certain amount of time on the clock, you only had enough time to tip the ball in. This man caught the ball, turned around, and shot with 0.8 seconds left. With 0.3 of a second left, I think it was.
So this is what I mean. That might have kept Tim Duncan from 6.
That's a good point. Never thought of it
Think
like
about
that.
this. Think about this. Tim Duncan got 5, and I don't care what anybody says. Like Manu, Tony, Kawhi, they're not in Shaq or Kobe's stratosphere. He's doing this while Shaq and Kobe are in their prime. Like, you understand, like 3 of his 5 came with them around.
Yeah.
Like not around his in separate, around his in together, he got 3.
Tim is
special. Mike, that's about as tough as a 3 rings as you'll see a man get.
So why is Tim not in this conversation?
What are you talking about? I have Tim ahead of Kobe and Shaq on my all-time list.
Whatever it is. Deontay Smith with the super chat says, you have to add John Jones to the list. Greatest UFC fighter of all time. I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that at all. John Green with the super chat says, Mayweather beat everyone from 130 to 150 pounds. Stop it, Coop. Go research before the Diego Quarles fight.
No.
He started breaking his hand.
I watched most of the fights. What you
and
mean
he said, and he started
watch?
breaking his hands consistently.
Ain't nobody trying to hear that. All right.
Mad Max to the super chat.
To the point, Mike. To the point that people started talking about his record. Since you want to bring up boxing history, when people started talking about his record, is right when the strategy of who he started to fight started to change. Now go look at that. How about that? He did used to fight everybody. Nobody said he never fought anybody. He did used to take on people in their prime. And then he stopped about preserving himself.
Low management. A boxer can't get low management.
He ain't cracking no Mount Rushmore, no modern era doing that. No.
A boxer can't get no low management.
Serena winning majors with babies in her body, and we talking about Floyd, who fights a old Pacquiao and a young Canelo? No.
Mad Max to the super chat says, Coop is Mad Max says, Coop is hating on Floyd. Who Floyd ever ducked? Only reason that he didn't fight Pac-Man is because Manny was on steroids and refused to get tested because he was scared of Floyd, scared of the needle. Is that man? Yeah.
Look here, man.
Hold on. Let me ask you this: do you think Manny was juicing? You think Manny was juicing in that period?
I'm going to tell you something, Mike. The way that he rose in weight class and rose in punching power does leave a little bit of smoke, but we don't have any fire.
Well, he asked him to get tested, and he didn't get tested.
But hold on, when did that happen, Mike?
When he was trying to fight him the first time, and that's why the fight was delayed.
But
because
what year was
Pacquiao
that?
wouldn't
That's what I'm
take
saying.
the.
Mike, when he started asking for those things, it was already too late in my mind anyway. It's like, why are we asking for this shit now anyway?
And Pacquiao's people, from what I remember, I know it's been a long time. He was like he didn't want to take blood before the fight because it would make him weaker or whatever, and
Mike,
that's why he wasn't
that's
doing
true. Have you, all jokes aside, Mike,
it. It makes
a lot of
sense.
people don't know this. Hold on, quick pause, Mike. Shout out to my mother. My mother's out in Africa on a missionary trip. Yeah,
That's
she's
what's
actually
up.
in Africa on a missionary trip. She actually got to go. She was a guest at the embassy in Uganda.
Nice.
Actually. Yeah, super nice. But my mother, as part of her community service, quote unquote, or tithing, my mother donates blood. And oftentimes when my mother donates, she speaks to the fact that sometimes afterwards, well, she needs to make sure that she's properly hydrated or
Yeah.
that she eats because it'll make her weak. It'll make her woozy. Mike, my mom ain't no boxer.
Boxing
Okay?
is the toughest thing in sports you can do.
It's literally one of the 3 to 4 toughest physical activities that you can probably just do, period. And so when he's talking about not wanting blood to be taken before the fight, no, that's legit and not about steroids. It's like, well, have you ever donated blood before? Do you know? I don't donate like my mother does, but I do donate when I have time, which is like 6 times a year. But when I do, Mike, I ain't gonna lie, it's like I find myself feeling like a little different.
Yeah.
Like, especially for those first like 8 to 12 hours after. My fingertips are a little bit more cold. My hunger pain is different. It's like, no, who about to go step into a boxing ring like that? So that's legit. But that shit was too late anyway, is my point.
We're going to talk. I know we got a lot of people in here, man. Thumbs up in the chat. We want to get some more people in here. We're going to talk about this Conway album, and we're also going to talk about this BET Crew tournament they got going on. Mad Max with the super chat says, Jay should have had the Blueprint 2 disc after Just, because he was wearing a kufi, and it don't mean that he right. He killed Nas on that. You know, my favorite line out of that whole song is
it Uchi Wally or is it one Mike?
As a black girl lost a
No,
shorty,
like,
oh you for
shorty,
ice.
oh, you for
No,
ice.
my favorite one was
he talks like a fan. That's why the fun
Yeah.
part about Jay when he disses somebody is like Jay talks like a fan. He's like, yeah, guess what? Been listening to your shit. I got some questions.
yeah. He was like when he said, "In your little brother jungle is a garden to me."
Oh, that was nice.
Was
there's
hard.
some slick bar work on there.
That was hard.
It's too late. People are like, oh, it's like you bringing up car seats and baby mothers and
Yeah,
babies.
exactly.
And
What we
like,
wanted
oh,
was
like,
the
damn.
What we wanted was the can't y'all see that he's fake, the rap verse and the TD Jakes prophesizing on your CDs and
You want to know
tapes.
what?
We wanted
the
that.
battle might have kept going had he done that instead of Super Ugly. The battle might have kept on going. We might have gotten to round 3.
Nas was ready though, because Last Real Nigga Alive is vicious. It's my personal favorite song in the whole series of battle songs with them.
It's a nice little series ender now, isn't it?
Yeah. Because the way he ended it, man, it's like the gift and the curse. Fuck that shit. The first should be last. I'm a man's man. A rapper's rapper. G-O-D. S-O-N and be none after. I was Scarface. Jay was Manolo. It hurt me when I had to kill him and his whole squad for Dolo. Nah, it's like, wow.
And the beat just flatlines. It's like, okay.
It's like, okay.
I think we're done here.
Yeah, for anybody who had any questions on who won this. Leroy.
See, that's what I mean. Think about this, Mike. Godson has Made You Look, Last Real Nigga Alive, which, by the way, are track 3 and 4. Those are back to back. You got Get Down on there.
I know people are gonna
big
say
record in his catalog. Godson's pretty dope, Mike.
Oh yeah, listen. I like just like how I like Jay-Z from
Heaven's one of his most underrated songs.
Heaven's dope. Like how I like Volume 3, Jay, and I don't really love the album the most. I like his approach during that time period. I love Nas's approach during that time period. You know what I mean? Like the rebel against everything.
Book of Rhymes, the Alchemist joint, Book of Rhymes. Book of Rhymes is fire, Mike.
Yeah. No, I love Godson Nas.
That's some of that classic Nas shit. You know what I mean?
I love Godson Nas. I mean, you could tell like how I feel about Made You Look. Like Godson Nas was like, fuck everything. Is that Power 105 interview? You know what I'm saying?
That's not like it was written Nas. It's like super lyrical. He's like super straightforward and like to the point.
It's
Yeah.
Ice Cube Nas, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Very
That's what
Ice
it
Cube-ish.
is.
Mike, you're very insightful today.
Yeah.
Very insightful.
That's what it is. 2001 to 2008 Nas is kind of Ice Cube Nas.
But think about it, Mike. Godson got a lot of bangers on it.
Or at least until the Untitled album, I would say.
Mastermind was the shit.
I like
too.
Mastermind.
Yeah.
Now this is what I will say, and shout out to Salam Remy. He made one of his toughest beats with "Made You Look"
And Get Down.
and "Get Down." But I think that the production overall didn't match his intensity on Godson to me.
Real talk. How about this? Just take out the cross and think about the album starting off with "Get Down," "Made You Look," and "Last Real Nigga Alive." Like
Take out the Eminem produced record? No. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Mike, Takeover was professional and strategic. Nas started calling Jay a homo and make threats on violence, so he took it to another level first.
If you start getting threats from a number that says Sherman Oaks, Mike, that's where Aftermath is located. That's where that's coming from. Say
I got
323
love
on
for
it.
Aftermath.
Say 323. Say 323, Mike. Yeah, don't pick that up, Mike. Don't pick that up.
Aftermath's the greatest label of the 21st century in hip hop. It is.
That ain't gonna help us. We ain't going to no bunch of this either.
Pandemic
over, Mike. This was cool when there wasn't no pandemic. I want to go outside and mingle with the people.
So I can't big up Snoop and think that Snoop is one of the greatest ever and still get love. I mean, come on. I give Snoop his props.
See how I went for Snoop at the Source Awards. It's exactly the same type of treatment we probably about to get.
You ain't got no love for Mike D and Coop. Let it be known, man. Mad Max with the super chat says, Mike, I'm a Laker fan. I want Bron to win, but he's overrated. And JJ holding you to 17 points and 8 points in a whole game in your prime is unacceptable. He had a bad game. LeBron can't even have a bad game. He's had an incredible career, and people still hold on to like 1 or 2 games. It's crazy.
I don't know. We're splitting hairs, Mike, because it's GOAT talk.
That's fair.
Split hairs when you're having GOAT talk.
That's fair. Mad Max with another super chat says, Kobe got locked up by Prince. Bron got clamped up by JJ. And Kobe wasn't in his prime versus Dallas, Mike. He had a bum knee and went to Germany in the summer.
And nobody trying to hear that shit. Look here. Detroit had Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace in the post, and Shaq was out there like, so.
Shaq's different, man.
That's what I'm saying. So Mike, that's what I mean. So for people that watch Shaq and Kobe play together, we've been having this Durant-Steph conversation for literally years, and it's like, well, how can you say that Steph is better when you watch KD and Steph play together in their prime, who was the better player? Yeah. Well, you watch Shaq and Kobe play together. Yeah. Because listen, Mike, and this is what I mean about the Detroit finals being the evidence. No, that's definitely a prime Kobe. That's definitely still a prime Shaq. Who looked like the man out on the court? It looked like Shaq. So in a all-time conversation, I know one guy got 4 rings and one guy got 5. But here's the reality of the matter is it's like one man was the man for 3 rings and one man was the man for 2. So even though you got one more, it's about the same. And y'all played together. Well, when y'all played together, it's like, well, how many MVPs did Kobe win when he played with Shaq? 0. How many MVPs did Shaq win when he played with Kobe? 1. How many final MVPs did Shaq win when he played with Kobe? 3. How many finals MVPs did Kobe win when he played with Shaq? 0. Conversation over.
Well, let me ask you this, though. How much better do you think 08 Kobe is than 02 Kobe? Because in my personal opinion, I think he's a good amount better.
08 Kobe's like one of the 5 best players ever.
Yeah.
Like 08 Kobe.
Because he could do whatever out there at that point.
No. How about this? The guy that existed from about 07-ish to about 11. Oh, no. People don't understand, and this is before the 3-point shot was even a thing like that. If you had a 10-point lead with 90 seconds left, he was the only guy in the NBA where you were still uncomfortable about if you were going to win the game or not. Stone cold, ruthless, heartless killer, like a heartless killer of the highest order.
You remember that one season? I forgot which one it was. It might have been 08, where he had all those game winners. It was the season where he did that incredible shot, one of the best shots I've ever seen. That game winner on Wade, where he went glass, and
Yeah.
Wade played perfect defense, had all kind of hands in his
Oh my!
face.
I watched that
Like,
game. Wade played perfect defense that game,
it's
Mike. He didn't play perfect
crazy.
defense that shot. He played perfect defense that game.
And see the mentality, and that's I
And
think.
he was the next best two guard in the league.
Oh,
too,
straight
Kobe.
up, straight up.
That was a top 5 player matchup.
Oh yeah.
That was like 1 versus 3.
And Wade was a great defender. Great defender.
He's an all-time great 2 guard and defender. He's a top 5 2 guard. I put him right behind Kobe.
I ain't mad at that. Because he did everything. What I was going to say, though,
better than Harden.
What Kobe used to do, he would sit out the first couple of minutes. Well, what Phil would do, have him sit out the first couple of minutes of the fourth quarter. And when he came in, I mean, your lead, like you said, it wasn't safe. This man starts hitting everything. And if they were down, he's getting the ball and he's making everything. It don't matter how many people they put on him. I've never seen anything like it. And that's including Michael Jordan. Like, Michael Jordan's thing was he would be out there for a whole game giving it to you, not sitting down. No breaks. Kobe would sit there and break on that fourth quarter, first couple of minutes. It's like, oh, time to come back.
No. Okay, so here's the difference between Mike and Kobe in that regard. Mike was more of a chess player type of assassin in terms of, like, Mike wouldn't really score early unless he felt like the team wasn't, like, up to par or playing. He would feel the game out and pick and choose his spot. As in, if the team would get down by about 10, he would take over for a minute and keep the game close and pick and choose his spots instead of dominating. But if by halftime, Mike didn't feel like players caught their rhythm, then Mike would just go straight bust that ass.
Yep.
But when the team had its rhythm, and a lot of the times those championship teams had rhythm, Mike would just show up in the fourth quarter and be like, okay, time to send the kids home.
Exactly.
Like, time to put the kids to bed. Say goodnight to them. Because here's what I'll tell you. You know, the highest 3 scoring averages, like in game 7s, are LeBron, KD, and Steph in that order. Mike don't fucking really know what game 7 looked like.
There really wasn't
that.
too many, yeah.
You don't know what game 7 looked like that for his scoring average to register. Like, you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, he wasn't trying to go to no 7 with you, man.
He don't know what game 7 looked like.
It's like I'm Michael Jordan. I got stuff to do, man. You know, Jay Short with the super chat.
Hold on, Mike, real quick. If anybody want to know who Kobe is, go listen to the way that Doc Rivers is talking on the bench during the Lakers-Celtic finals in the games where the Celtics are clearly up, and he's like, hey, don't relax. You know who's on the other side of the bench. Like, it's the only time that I've ever heard a coach talk that way consistently during the course of a finals. He's reminding the team, even when they're whooping the other team's ass, it's like, hey, so that's Kobe in case you forgot.
And he not even talking to no young boys either. He's talking to guys
KG,
who are,
Mike.
he's talking
KG
to guys
might be
that
the
are
most
in.
intense player to ever pick up a basketball. He's reminding KG, hey, remember, that's Kobe.
Yeah, he's talking to guys.
The coach has to be to remind Kevin Garnett who's on the other side of the court.
He's talking to guys that are older than Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Jay Short with the super chat says, we killed LeBron for Dallas, but youngsters don't remember Mike losing 1,000 straight games in Detroit in the 80s because it was before the internet. Yeah, Detroit was kind of, by today's terms, flagrant fouling a lot too. So.
He lost 3 straight series, if I'm not mistaken. He lost 4-1, 4-2, and 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know what I mean? There was the progression, and then when it was his term, it was 4-0.
Yeah.
They might have swept him the first time. I'm not sure if it was 4-0 or 4-1. It might have been a sweep the first time, and then it was 6 games, and then it was 7 games, which was the Scotty migraine game. That's what I mean. If Scotty doesn't have a migraine, who's to say Mike don't have 7?
Yeah, who's to say Phil Jackson even takes over, right? You know, that game where Scotty had the migraine and had, 4 points in like 38 minutes in a Game 7 situation, that's what got Doug Collins up out of there and got Phil right in that seat. So Phil Jackson owes Scottie Pippen a Christmas card every year. Mad Max with the super chat says, Coop, Kobe, Duncan, and Dirk were all 35 when KD beat them. And Eddie Jones, Mike, when Eddie Jones was with Shaq got swept by 40-year-old Malone and Stockton. Stop.
Okay, so let's get
Stockton
this right.
and Malone were
LeBron?
great. What you mean?
LeBron? 35, winning rings. Mike, 35, winning rings.
It's true.
KD, 34 right now. Steph, 35 right now.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody trying to hear that shit. That's what I'm saying. It's like, so, and...
Jay Short with the super chat says, I'm a Kings fan. No disrespect to Kobe, but when they didn't feed Shaq, that was a relief. Shaq was unstoppable. He was that unstoppable. There was no 1A and 1B.
Hold on. Dirk was not 35 in 2012. That I know. That's a whole lot. And Kobe wasn't no lying. Kobe ain't lies.
Domenico with the super chat says, Mike D and Coop, random question. Have you guys seen the Brazilian movie City of God? Classic.
Yes. Love it.
I've never seen City of God.
Yeah, you need to
I've heard about it, but
I thought that the AZ song City of Gods was based on that movie actually.
Mad Max with the super chat says Serena was like a month pregnant and Floyd older than Pac-Man. How Pac old and he not see the standard for Floyd, but we give Serena credit for go ahead.
Mad Max, go tell your mother that Serena was only a month pregnant when she won a major.
So let me get this right. Mad Max is dissing Dear Mama, and now he's coming at Serena's pregnant performance. What are we doing? What are we doing on the same episode?
Now I feel like the principal. It's like, you want to know? I want to speak to your mother.
Dane with the super chat says,
Mike, Mad Max, email Coop at accordingtohiphop.com. I'd like to speak to your mother and your father about your behavior on the show.
Right, what's going on, man?
You've become very problematic. You're malicious and anti-woman statements. Not going to be tolerated on the show. This is a progressive show, Mad Max.
Dame with the super chat.
23 years young to be behaving this way.
Dame with the super chat says, don't forget, You're the Man was about Jay. And that was the hardest one. That was about Jay?
Knocked me off the top of the game, but I understand the truth is all lame.
Yeah, spit balls of flame right in their fat mouth and they call my name. Nas. Yeah. True king. Your arms is too short to box with God.
This is what I mean about strategic. People say You're the Man was recorded early, as in before the battle. Right. They say that's an I Am session record.
Really? Never heard that.
I've heard that. I don't know how valid that is. It'd be nice to find out, but it's like, yeah. So that's what I mean about chess and not checkers. It's like, no. I think You're the Man got held.
Can we do a documentary on I Am? And it's double disc and it's
I don't know. We're gonna need some access, Mike. I don't know.
No. I'm just saying, like, I'm putting it out there in the universe for the people who hear it. Mad Max with the super chat.
No. I want to do it, Mike. It needs to be done.
It needs to be done. People need to know.
If that album gets released, Mike, I told you it's the best 3-album run ever.
Mad Max with the super chat says, Steph got the double team, Coop. KD was never doubled on the Warriors. Kobe in his prime is as after Shaq left. With Shaq, he was 24 years old in like 04.
You want to know what?
I love how the young kids love Kobe.
I like how people get selective memory. Go watch those games, Mike. I don't know what he's talking about. There's a guy. How about this? They're doing zone coverage on Steph. No. They running at KD unless LeBron's guarding him. Running. There's a difference between playing zone coverage and running at a player.
Jay Short with the super chat says, these LeBron/JJ arguments is wild. Nobody's talking about 88 when Vinnie Johnson shot Mike out of the playoffs in an elimination game. Y'all just hate LeBron. I think that's fair. What Jay Short said. Mad Max comes back. He says, Jay Short, microwave is 100 times better than JJ. Cut your nonsense. MJ also averaged damn near 50 against the Pistons. Again, cut your nonsense. Bron averaged 17 against the Mavs. That's another good response. Great retort.
I mean, do you understand? Okay, so here's what I'll tell you. How about this, Mike? Do you think that Steph's Golden State Warriors without KD could beat Detroit's bad boy Pistons?
No.
then close your mouth. Do you think with KD that they would?
Yes, they could.
Well, that's
This
who
is the
KD
only
is.
this is the only caveat here. I don't know how well that Golden State team would play under physical violence. I don't know.
Because this is what I mean. Because here's what I'm saying. How about this? Have Steph and Clay ever had to deal with a backcourt like Isaiah and Joe Dumars? Ever?
No. Jay
No.
Short with the super chat says,
You know, Michael Jordan says Joe Dumars was the toughest guy who ever defended him.
I can believe it. He did a hell of a job too. Shout out to Joe Dumars. Jay Short with the super chat says, some of these dudes still sound like old dudes in the barbershop with the sports talk. Like, we can't use Google basketball reference and YouTube. It's all there, right? This is the According to Hip Hop Barbershop, brought to you by our upcoming event, Juneteenth event.
Yeah, you want to talk about the Juneteenth event quick?
And then we can talk about this Conway.
Routine?
Yes, sir.
1959, Metropolitan Avenue, Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Metro Fun Center, According to Hip Hop, along with 8 a.m. Productions. Sponsoring our Juneteenth event, I've locked in my barber, Tracy the Barber. She is going to be providing free haircuts for the children. We have more stuff coming, Mike. We've just been kind of slowly doing our build up, and I'm starting to reach out to people. We're going to have about 20 vendors working on getting the bouncy house for the kids. We already got the free cut set up.
What does a person have to do to sign up to be a vendor?
Right now, they can just hit me at Coop at accordingtohiphop.com. For right now, I'm actually reaching out to some of the vendors tentatively that I've already been talking to that are going to be at the event. We're going to start posting and promoting those vendors soon. Once I get those things confirmed.
What kind of vendors are we looking for?
Huh?
What kind of vendors are we looking for?
We're looking for entrepreneurs.
Okay.
You know, like, I mean, this is a community event, so it's like really it's what people want to bring to the table to like serve to the community. You know what I'm saying? That's part of like doing a community event in the heart of Atlanta. We're going to have a bar as well. You can go to Eventbrite for the link. Mike, I know you just put the flyer up. I just seen it. Like,
it should be in the community section.
Yeah. Just go hit us up on Eventbrite. Tickets are $20. We're going to have about 20 vendors. We're going to have Fuego Base there. We're going to have a list of artists. I'm still putting the artist list together, but, you know, it's going to be June 17th, Saturday, 1 to 6, Metropolitan Avenue. We're doing some great things. I want to do some community initiatives and community give-backs that I'm currently working on. Pulling a lot of pieces together, so it's pulling me apart, but it's for the people. So
looking for any artists, or are artists already?
We're looking for everything,
out?
Mike. We're looking for artists. We're looking for donations. We're looking for sponsorship.
Okay.
You know, we're looking for help. I want this to be something that helps galvanize the community as well. You know, I've been talking the last few weeks about Fred and Shakita and FDL. You know, the median income around Metropolitan Avenue right now is $15,000, Mike. They're building $500,000 townhomes. You know, so this is about community initiative, but this is also about being politically savvy, educated, informed, circulating the dollar within the inner city economy to up that median income level. You get what I'm saying? The more that we commerce in an area of the city, and it gets reported on taxes, the more that median income begins to rise, and the more that we can actually, you know, maybe start to afford the things that they're putting in our neighborhoods that are apparently and blatantly not for us. You know, we got to start working on those things for a fundamental level of like giving people some of the stuff that they need. Like part of the thing with the free haircuts is because, well, it's the summertime, it's the inner city. And there are a lot of single mothers and single fathers as well who, you know, I mean, getting your kids' haircut costs, Mike.
Oh, yeah, that shit adds up, man.
Yeah, so even relieving that burden, you know, for a week or two, you know, no, that helps. So it's like whatever and whoever wants to help, I'm all into and in for. I'm going to be literally reaching out to people starting tomorrow. And we'll be revealing more as more people sign up. But I'm excited. The goal is to get 1,500 people at the event.
For the people who aren't watching this live and might be listening to this on Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever, where should they go to Just our According to Hip Hop YouTube channel in the community section and that
They can
link.
go to the community section, or they can just go up on Eventbrite and just put in A2HH, Juneteenth extravaganza.
Okay.
We got the event bright link up. I'm gonna have to take the link down probably about a week before the event. It's gonna be a smaller charge, like at the actual event and venue, just because we're gonna have to do things security wise and like as far as like keeping things stationed and organized. Kind of want to know how many people we're dealing with, and so does the venue and the space, and rightfully so about taking the proper precautionary measures. So I prefer that this event gets sold out before the actual date, but I also know how the city work and how people be on the pull up. They be like, "Hey, what's going on over there?"
And for our out of town people and overseas people, if you want to donate to this initiative, feel free to do so as well. And and if you want to travel to come out, we would love to have you. It's gonna be a good time.
Like I tell you, one of the things I actually want to do, Mike, I want to reach out to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. I want to see about doing maybe a toy drive for some of the kids there. Um, there are a lot of kids that suffer from rare diseases in our community that we're not privy to, and they affect people's lives. I've been affected by someone who has lost their child, to a rare disease and was actually in those facilities, and it's affected and impacted my life. And I think the best way that I can show that I care is to actually start making a difference. Like talk is cheap. I want to start making a difference. I want to start promoting education. I want to start saving lives. I want to start saving our children, like from everything. Some of what I've seen happen in one specific case of one young child that lost her life. It's like, well, had mom had more information, I think mom could have prevented it.
That's tough, man. And yeah, using our voices and just the fact that we actually have a platform that galvanizes a lot of people. Even though we're talking about hip hop, we can use these outlets to come together for causes like that and make sure that something like that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, I mean, there are things that we can do to make things better every day and every year. So it's like one less child, or
Yeah.
5 less children, which is 5 less mothers grieving, 5 less families grieving. I mean, people don't understand. It's like when a child dies, that affects families for generations. You're never supposed to bury your children. Your children are supposed to bury you.
Yeah.
And so
Michael,
some of the things I hope to be doing with the event. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely. I got the information here. And like I said, for the people that are listening, go to the community section on this YouTube channel, and click the link, the Eventbrite link, and get in, man, and holler at us. Michael Williams with the super chat says, Coop, I've heard you say that the production on It Was Written is better than Reasonable Doubt, and you've both said that 1996 Nas might be the best rapper of all time. Yet, you rank Reasonable Doubt over It Was Written. Why is that? That's a good question. I disagree with the production part of it, but I do agree with 96 Nas. I think Reasonable Doubt just has better songs than It Was Written to me. What say you, Coop?
I've always told you, and I'm going to say this again. Oh, no. Part of why I've always said before this run that I had one guy at one ahead of the other is because one guy's best album, I'm not sure is better than the other guy's second best album. That's what I've always said. As in, like, it's close between his second best album and his first best album. That's part of how I separate the dialogue in the conversation.
Well, I'm going to hit people with a bombshell. And don't kill me, guys. I think the Blueprint is better than It Was Written, and I think the Black Album is better than It Was Written as well.
You definitely don't know what you're talking about.
I think the Black Album and It Was Written are closer, but...
It's okay. Mike, it's okay. That's absurd. The Black...
That's absurd?
Mike, It Was Written... Pull it up.
Hold on. Let's start here. Do you think It Was Written is better than the Blueprint?
Huh?
You think It Was Written is better than the Blueprint?
Mike, which album do you want to line up and take this L that It Was Written? You want to
Really?
line up the Blueprint of the Black Album? Do we need to do it before or after the Conway review? It's 7 o'clock. let's do the Conway review.
Okay, let's do the Conway review, and then we'll get
Right,
to
we're doing the
that.
Conway review, Mike. You can think about which one of those albums taking his L.
I mean, listen, I think the Blueprint is definitely better. I think the question is the Black Album.
Mike, no.
LP with the super chat says Nipsey wanted to make a documentary about I Am leaks. That's dope. Dope idea from Nipsey. Hope somebody follows through on it. If they don't, then I think we should. Shit. Why not?
We're not asking any more questions anymore. We just doing. Let's make it shake.
Percy Miller with the super chat says KD was 23-7 without Steph in Golden State. I'm sorry, 23-17. Excuse me. Andrew Green with the super chat says I Am's Allure, the double disc album, autobiography concept, the bootlegging, Puffy versus Steve Stout, Nas almost dying from astroasphyxiation during the album cover shoot. Definitely documentary material. It's a lot to go on there, definitely. Jay Short with the super chat says, are there any combinations of 12 songs that would make Streets Disciple a classic or near classic? Plenty of greatness on that album with editing.
Definitely could have been edited down to one disc and would have had more classic nature. What I will tell you, that's one of those albums that even if you edit it, would be really, really dope. But I don't know how great it would be still, because here's why. What do you think's the best song on Streets Disciple?
Oh, to me, easily Thief's Theme.
Thief's Theme?
Yeah.
Mike, if Thief's Theme is the best song on Streets Disciple, that's the problem with Streets Disciple. Because I don't even know if you play Thief's Theme in the verses.
No, you don't. And I love Thief's Theme. But
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I mean about the level. It's like, oh no, is there good stuff on there? It's like, yeah, if that's like anybody other than Nas and a few other guys, do you think that it's probably great or all-time great? Possibly. But about who it is and about what he's done and about what he recently just came off of, like Stillmatic, Godson.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's like, I'll tell you what I love. I love Rest of My Life.
Yeah. I'll tell you what,
like,
man.
Oh, no, that ain't, I'll be riding the rest of my life too.
That's
the way
a good
that
song.
Dropping. It's like, no, but it's like, that ain't it. That ain't like that. That ain't that level. That ain't that GOAT talk.
That song reminds me of my first time ever visiting New York. It was out at that time. And yeah, it was on the radio. Hot 97 was playing a lot of that. You know, this was like, my first time visiting New York was 2005. And so I guess I'm having this notion that, man, when I get up in New York, I'm going to be hearing all kind of like, you know, hip hop that I'm not hearing everywhere else. But by 05, New York radio had kind of been compromised. And I was kind of disappointed that I'm sitting here hearing Get Low from Lil Jon and stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I can get this at home.
Yeah, I'm like, this sounds like Atlanta to me. Mad Max with the super chat says, best lyricist is Rakim. And when Years I Ain't Got No Joke came out, Nas never put words together like Rakim did on that Addict Habit line. He said was fire. Oh yeah, man. Listen, man. To me, Rakim's the greatest lyricist I've ever heard.
Okay, so this is what I mean. It's all about how about this? I think what you're saying is that Rakim is a better tactician.
Yeah. Listen, no. Ho. Being objective here, though. Nas is the greatest lyricist ever.
No, that's what I mean, because
he does
this
too
is
much.
What I mean. How about this? What Rakim provides at certain levels, can Nas provide that? No. But what Nas provides, impact and contextualization-wise, hits so much harder, Mike. I'm going to reference maybe your favorite song, because this is what I mean about what Rakim can't do. Like, Nas can do some things that Rakim can't do. It's sort of like the conclusion, the color purple. Niggas is losing.
It's just crazy.
Confusion when one time's on, pursue movements. Locking niggas up in this movement to rule shit. Cops versus the block. Shorties is rule quick. Lesson number one, if you arrested and hung, when niggas is from, gotta keep a lid on your tongue. It's like silent murder. I hit blunts hard like Ray Mercer. No, Rakim don't do that, Mike.
and the Palace of Persia, the cognac merchant. Man, come on, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no. That's
and who's
different.
foul
You
one
know,
to make
that's
his
that
nose take
ticket
a
and blood
freeze?
shit. Simply follow me, flow. Put poetry inside a crack pot and blow.
Well, you know, also like what I say about Tribe and Cass, like how Tribe
Rough
has all
holes, pulled
those.
out pussies and buttholes, rolling thieves. When the D's come, they can't touch those. Why shoot degrees about it when you could be about it? My degrees are routed towards the peasy head brick houses, studded up fake medallions. Rich niggas transporting thousands. Foreign cash exchange amount into millions. Doors is locked, rocks is shot, watching cameras in the ceiling. Trick bitches catching mad feelings. Peeling off intellects, Jeep techniques is four-wheeling. No, Rakim don't do that, Mike.
No, you're right. You know what? And like I said, I think Rakim coming from such a place so early though, it's like he's rapping at
The
a
objective's
10
different.
level when 10 doesn't even exist at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like the 10s during when Rakim's coming in the door is the Grandmaster Casses, the Cool Mo D's, great lyricists, Melly Mel's. But this dude comes in there rapping like a modern motherfucker. It's crazy.
No, I told you.
But I think Nas's unreleased stuff though, it's like I say about Tribe and Cass. Like Tribe has all those remixes, Cass doesn't. All that unreleased stuff that Nas has would give him the edge over Rakim, even if things were like totally even. You know what I mean?
Like, that's what I mean. Like Rakim still like like Nas don't have no lyrics of fury. It's like Rakim don't have no I gave you power though.
Or Rewind. I mean, that's what it is.
Nobody have Rewind.
No. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, it was written production was incredible. Nas actually got flack for going commercial for that because it was so acclaimed and played What Are We Saying? And played What Are We Saying? LP with the $20 super chat. Showing love. He said Dubs were 27-3 without KD. That's a powerful stat. That is a very powerful stat. He joined a 27-3 squad.
Nobody ever discounted what the Dubs were. And I've always said this. It's like, no. But about one man you needed to go get KD to win, though. It wasn't about the regular season. It wasn't about a bunch of teams. There was only one man at the time that could provide a legitimate antithesis to LeBron. And who was that man?
It's KD.
They didn't. Draymond Green even said, it's like, no, we didn't get you for the regular season. We didn't get you for the first round.
Yeah.
We didn't get you for the second round. We didn't even get you for the conference finals. We got you specifically
because we're scared of LeBron. There's nothing we can do about him.
Because we're shook, and there ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. We need you to come make this full.
Yeah, a 73-9 Dubs team was afraid of LeBron.
They flew to the Hamptons after a finals loss about this man, and people are like, he's soft. It's like, they not soft?
Yeah.
They did all of that. Think, Mike, the owner, the GM, the coach, and the best three players on the team hopped on a plane from California to the Hamptons saying, so we got this LeBron problem.
And so what does that say about
LeBron issue?
What does that say about your two-time MVP? What does that say about your two-time unanimous MVP?
What does that say about Kevin Durant? That all of those people from Mike, if they're a dynasty and they're the greatest organization of the modern era for basketball, what does it say about what Kevin Durant is that he got all of them to go do that? What does that say about LeBron and KD specifically? It's like, so we got this LeBron problem we can't fix, and you're the only motherfucker that can fix it.
I don't know who to indict more, Steph or Kerr. Because as a coach, I would think that's weak as fuck. I'm sorry.
No, Mike.
But he knows his players.
No. They understood. No, Mike, this is what I'm saying. You want to know what that was? That was the admission of them saying, we were lucky to get that first ring.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Jay Short with a super chat says, Mike, if Nas Is Coming is on the blueprint, it's the 5th or 6th best song. That's not true.
That's not true, but I hear you.
That's not true.
Let's get to Conway. And then let me wax you right quick.
LP with the super chat says Dubs were 27-3 without KD. He gave us that fact again. That's a strong one. I want to make sure we get all the super chats.
It's not strong enough as we can't beat LeBron without you. Nothing is as strong as that.
I'm gonna make sure we get to all these super chats because people showing love today. Michael Williams says, Mike, a couple of months ago, you guys did a It Was Written versus Black album versus because someone in the comments said TBA is better, and you had It Was Written winning. Okay, so we already did that, and It Was Written won over the Black album. So I guess it's the Blueprints time, huh? Yeah, well,
All bad.
all bad. Okay. I think we got one more super chat. KC1 says 96 Nas is the best MC ever. 88 Rakim, 96P, and 97 Biggie round out my top 5. I like when people do it like that, man. That's very specific. 97 Big was a problem.
No, that's my top 3 too, Mike. If we're talking about just Mike performance for a year, yeah, 88 Rakim, 96 Nas, 97 Biggie.
88 Rakim's insane.
He's so far ahead. 88 Rakim is 10 years ahead of everybody. At least
really
8. Is. Yeah, he's about 8 years ahead of everybody except for like Nas.
Lyrics to Fury, man. It's like in 1988, nobody heard anything like that.
Like, how about this? Think about this. For the lyricists that we call Black Thought and that we call Lupe, they don't have a Lyrics of Fury. They don't have like that song where we go, it's like, you want to know what? Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, he was vicious on there. LP with the super chat says Durant went to a team that beat him down 3-1. Shaking my head. He did that.
Hey, Mike, you want to know what? Now, I hold that series against him more than I'll hold this Brooklyn shit against him. Specifically, how about this? Not Game 7.
Game 6.
The Game 6 game, Mike. Because here's the thing. If you were watching that game, it's almost like he didn't show up and become Kevin Durant till the third quarter. It's like, fam, Clay been busting ass for about 15 minutes late to this party, fam. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? It's like that. So it's like if you want to hold Game 6 against him, against Golden State, totally. Because I do.
Somebody said 98 Silk the Shocker fades them all. And on that note.
First of all, they cut off Conway.
All right. Conway released Won't He Do It today. Man, what do you think about this album, man? Some people are saying album of the year. Some people are saying it's a mid. Some people are saying it's predictable. What did you get from Won't He Do It?
It's definitely not some mid. Because I want to talk about the album maker that he is. Because this is better than God Don't Make Mistakes. That was one of the first things that I noticed is that, you know, artists go through things just like normal people do. And I think that sometimes the albums that you get are reflective of that. And I think God Don't Make Mistakes was more of a dreary time for him. Mm-hmm. The records kind of reflect that. And because of that, I don't think it registers. I think that's one of the things that Scarface as an artist struggles with sometimes. Is that the project might be dope, but because sometimes the subject matter is deeper and condensed, and it feels like, you know, you might be talking to somebody who's manic depressive, you know?
I said that the other day, and I wasn't even talking to you about that. I was like, you know, as great as Scarface is, I can't listen to Scarface every day. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, I have to be in a certain place. And I think it's really interesting that he has the catalog that he does, but he doesn't make albums that will fit for every mood. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's a vibe. Like, he's one of those things that it's like, no, you got to listen to a Scarface album to really realize how great he truly is. Yeah. I'll tell you this. Yeah, you do. So overall, I'm impressed with this album because I don't know how else to say this, Mike. The way he's expanded himself as an artist. These are all the things I wanted for Prodigy as a solo artist. I don't know how else to say it. Does things where I'm like, man, like he literally makes me want, like, I was like, man, I wish P would have did something like that. His career would have been different had he did something like that. And I think because Conway has done tracks with P, and because he's a student of history, like this is one of those guys, he's very insightful and intelligent, Mike. He knows history very well. He knows what type of lane he exists in. And he's doing everything to show that lane don't really have shit to do with the bar work. And he's right. And that's why I'm bringing up Scarface, because Scarface is another example of that. And this album is proof positive of that. Like, when I heard Monogram come on, I was like, yeah, P wouldn't take that chance with a beat like that in his prime. Conway will. And that's
Mm.
why Conway succeeds, is that he takes the types of chances musically, stylistically, and theme-wise that other artists of his ilk or in his vein won't take. And that makes him the best of that crop. And so even if he's not your favorite, even if he's not quote unquote, as he always talks about, well, I'm not in your top five, even if he's not in your top five, understand as far as what he do, oh no, this motherfucker the best at it, Mike.
Mm.
He the best at what he do. Like CeeLo said that once. He's like, everybody has a zone. It's like really not about who's the best. It's about being the best at what you do. As far as like a street dude making an album that still connects to the streets and talking that talk, or making a full-fledged and versatile album, it's like, no, he's that dude.
You're right.
I don't care who you got. It's like, no. You can't show me a dude that be talking this street talk that can go make a project like this versatile like this, that can pick up beats like this and rhyme over them.
He gives you range, and you can even see it with the fact that
Mike.
he signed somebody like a Jay Skis and a Love the Genius, and the way they approach music, you could tell that even though he has a lot of street-oriented material, he is able to do more and wants to do more. And having those artists with him and along for this ride, you see it. Like even the songs that they're on this project.
So, Mike, that's one of the notes that I have, is that I think having Love, the Genius, and Jay Skis around, and the type of versatile artists that they are,
mm-hmm.
I think like they've taken from him. I think he's taken from. I think like they've taken from him. He's taken from them,
mm-hmm.
and
they're adjusting to each other.
His range is even more rangier, and I think that has something to do with watching his artists become great in their own rights,
mm-hmm.
and him being part of that.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says album of the year. Mike. Jermaine Johnson says album of the year, and Uncle Shay Shay made it on the album. Yeah, cheers to that.
I was about to say the joint with Skis, with the Skip and Shannon.
Yeah,
Mike, I was thinking, I was like, that's damn near instant classic rap shit.
Yeah. The whole back and forth, the undisputed. Mad Max with the super chat says 97 big.
Skis, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I've heard Skis next to Conway this year.
Skis and Conway got a Jay-Z Beanie Siegel thing going on, man.
They got a whole Beanie Siegel. Hold on. And Skis knows this because Skis quoted me on Instagram last year when I said this, Mike. I brought up that whole Beans and Jay thing when I heard them last year.
Yeah.
No, Mike, they the living proof of it. And
they're official.
Unlike the Beans and Jay situation, I don't think this Skis and Conway thing is going anywhere. I think it's only getting greater.
And I mean, even the project they did together, like
here's what I mean. I heard something like, "Won't he do it?"
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he put Love on there, and then I thought about it for a second, and it's like, no, like she's on there because I think that just who she is as an artist has helped inspire some of these projects and being around her. Like, think about the last two projects. God don't make mistakes. Won't he do it? Mm-hmm. You hear Love's verse on Won't He Do It?
Mm-hmm.
She spazzes, Mike.
She's great. I like her a lot. Shout out to her. Great. She was our first ever guest on A2HH Live, I believe. It was either her or Mickey Fax. I think Mickey might have came. It was the same time, I believe. So
I thought Yo-Yo.
Well, that wasn't really officially A2HH Live, I didn't think. But maybe it was. I just pulled up on Yo-Yo in the pandemic. But yeah, shout out to Yo-Yo.
Check it out. You want to know what? Like, when I was sitting down with Fuego, I was like, Love is like our first big interview. He's like, you talk to Love? I was like, I love Love.
Yeah.
He's like, we love Love. I was like, great. It's hard not to love Love.
Yeah. Mad Max with the super chat says 97 Biggie, a top 5 lyricist. Conway is the lyricist that Big was in 97. Big is not top 5 lyricist. LOL. Just know. Dang, I'm surprised to hear that from you, Mad Max.
Hold on. So let's get back to this project. This is what I like about this project as opposed to God Don't Make Mistakes. I don't feel like God Don't Make Mistakes. I felt like for his core audience, he didn't deliver to his core audience. He expanded himself nicely with some things like Stress and Chanel Pearls and showed some of his range. Those records are dope. They're not great.
Yeah.
No, the stuff on here, this is what I'm like, Quarters and Brucifix, This is what I mean about Conway and his message. He'll tell you a lot about how he's about to deliver from his first song. When I realized that Quarters was the first song on here, it's like, oh, he's an intuitive guy. He realized that he made a good album, but he didn't hit his core with his last album. He takes care of that with the first 2 records. That's why you get Quarters, and then you get Brucifix with Westside, which are great. Then you get Monogram, which is the switch up, and that's when you realize it's like, that's when he's like, no, I'm still on my shit, but don't forget, I'm versatile. Then he shows you it's like, no, I'm elite. Who y'all think's elite right now? It's like, no, I go back and forth with Ransom. That ain't nothing for me. You know what I'm saying? Like Ransom can stunt on a lot of people. He's not about to stunt on me on my album. He can come get on my album. That ain't no problem. You know
How do you feel like he did with Fab on the record? Because I know we've had a debate on this show of who's the better MC between him and Fab. How do you think that turned out?
I think Fab has the better verse.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean, Mike. I've heard Fab had the better verse than Jadakiss. How did the verses go? Like, I've heard Fab on multiple occasions with Kiss right there have a better verse than Jadakiss.
I think he out-rapped Jada on one of those Freddie versus Jason.
Mike, Soul Food.
Yeah.
He got him on Soul Food. Easy. That might be the best verse on that album.
Yeah.
How did the verses play, Mike? That's what I'm talking about. So it's like, if you think Fab's better lyrically, like for a verse than Conway, you might be right. When the last time Fab made a project this good?
The Fab folks gonna get you. LP with the super chat says...
No. I'm asking a question. I'm not being disrespectful when I'm asking. I'm really asking. When the last time Fab made a project this good? Because this is what I'm saying. Like, no, Mike. From a king to a god is great.
Yeah.
God Don't Make Mistakes is good. La Maquina is really dope. La Maquina is better than God Don't Make Mistakes. This project's really dope. Like, it's not like these projects are dead. I'm bringing up the last 4 full-length albums this man has made. They're all really dope-ass projects. When the last time you heard about Fab making 4 dope-ass full-length projects in a row? That's what I be talking about. And it's like, but when we talk about Kendrick, Mike, we be like, he makes such great albums. But when Conway is consistent with the album making, it's like Fab is better. It's like, what Fab's album sound like?
Right.
That's all I was saying. Like, how about this? You remember OJ on the Jeezy album?
Mm-hmm.
Fab might have the best verse on there. Kiss is on there.
No, you're right. You're right.
Fab smashed OJ.
No, you're right. Fab can give you a great verse.
I know that been happening. I know who Fab is. Ain't nobody trying to disrespect Fab. But don't we, Mike, you know why we keep talking about Jay and Nas? Illmatic, It Was Written.
Yeah. It's the album.
Reasonable Doubt.
The albums, you got to deliver on that.
God's Son, Stillmatic, American Gangster. You know what I'm saying? Volume 2. Life is Good. That's why we talking about these dudes. Mike, I don't be running around telling people, like, why is Nas the greatest? Man, because the world is yours. Did you hear that second verse on The World Is Yours?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I be...
No, you're right.
Like, Illmatic, have you heard It Was Written? Did you hear the intro to Godson? You heard the first half of Godson? Like, we talking about the albums. So
That's
it's like
what
when
it's
people
about.
be having this Fab conversation, I just be like, no, show me the albums, because this is what I'll tell you respectfully. It's like, no, Mike, you know how I feel about Prodigy, and I know Prodigy better than Fab. Prodigy never made no albums like this. Return of the Mac ain't better than none of these Conway albums we getting.
LP with the super chat says...
That's a fact.
LP with the super chat says the production sounds like he got shot in the face. Quote. Mad Max with the super chat says, album not bad. It's mid, and I'm tired of being objective. That's a cop out. The album is mid bars, all right. But what on here am I replaying? Nothing.
That's what I mean, Mike. You don't like Quarters? I'm asking you.
I like it. I like it.
Mad Max has been talking crazy all day. He doesn't deserve any credit.
Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says,
parents, Mike.
What's up with all these rappers teasing songs with Nas that don't show up on the album? Conway said a Nas song was on this joint. Where is it? Well, I don't have any answers on that. 36
I'm
Chambers.
pretty sure it's probably something to do with what Jay Skis talked about when I asked him about why isn't Love on his album, which is, no, we got the record. It just didn't fit into the schematics of what we were putting together.
That's possible.
This project.
Yeah. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, to the versatility point, this album shows why Griselda recently only got their first gold plaque. He hasn't evolved sonically much. Some good tracks, but I guess I expect more from it. 3 or 3.5 out of 5. Tough
What are you
crowd.
expecting exactly? And I'm asking these questions respectfully, like I'm not being shady.
Leroy Green with the super chat says Westside Gunn has just as many albums as Ghostface at this point. Who is more crazy? Let's see. Jay Short also with the super chat says I feel like Conway has toots like consistency. Has a toots like consistency. What point do we allow him to go to Golden State and get a chip? Can he make a get rich or die trying?
Oh,
One of
so
the
that's
jump teams.
no. So okay. So let's look at it like this.
It's
Okay.
kind of a Beans conversation again. I hate to keep bringing up Beans, but I feel like if Beans played for another team,
Well, listen, I'm bringing up. Look,
yeah.
you're bringing up Beans. I'm bringing up Scarface. When Beans was around, what was his comp to a lot of people?
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of existing in that same mold again, where it's like, okay, how about this? Do you feel like has a single, he's made something like In the Club, Conway? Does he have like an In the Club?
Nah, I mean it's different times, but nah. I mean,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to
Yeah.
make it in the club in today's time.
Right. And
Yeah.
so that's what I mean. It's like, no, he's given us like that rap that we used to actually like gravitate towards. It's like Scarface ended up on Nas and Jay records because his rep was like that based on his records. Like people heard the diary and Mr. Scarface is back and it's like, no, let me get that dude on record because what he's kicking is real and raw and he can really flow and he's got like the way he put words together and how he do his voice. And it's like, no, Conway's more like that. And this is what I mean. He does what I like to call a lot of feel it in the air records. You know what I
But
mean?
see,
Remember being Siegel and Feel It in the Air?
No, definitely, I agree with you. But I also
And he
think
doesn't
that
always execute because I think Feeling in the Air is a fucking 10 out of 10.
it's a 10 out of 10, definitely.
So he
What I
may
was
not
gonna
play.
say though, I feel like if Conway was in a different era, I wouldn't say he could make In the Club, but he could give you a banger. I feel like he could give you what Beanie Siegel gave you on his version of In the Club that Timbaland produced.
Yeah. And you want to know what? And I'm going to be honest with you. Did it ever occur to people that Beanie Siegel went and did In the Club? Because Do It Again was supposed to be his record and it ended up being somewhere else. And that's why he starts off the record saying, back to the club with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, it's already got taken from me, but I can do it over again by myself because I'm Beanie.
I'm back to the club, guys. This is night 2. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says,
"Sitting up dubs, sipping on Chris." Think about how he starts off.
Yeah. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, you could tell that money was put into this project. Great production and masterful engineering. The sound is so good that at first I thought that I did something to change the settings on my headphones. Okay, I got to put up a poll now because we have people in polar opposites about this album.
Yeah, we do. This is what I mean. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know what you all. How about this? Mike, when you talk about Conway, what do you think Conway's ceiling is as an artist?
His ceiling?
Like
I don't feel like he has much of a ceiling.
Hold on. This is what I mean. And then we'll get to this too, and we'll rate the album, and we'll put the poll up. I'm going to list our top 25 MCs right quick. And I want you to tell me the MC whose rhetoric is close to Conway's.
Okay.
And this is what I mean about how he's different. Nas, Jay-Z, Ice Cube, Tupac, Rakim, Biggie, Snoop, Chuck D, KRS-One, LL, Method Man, Black Thought, Slick Rick, Scarface, Ghostface, Raekwon, Common, Big Daddy Kane, DMX, Kanye West, Drake, Prodigy, Busta Rhymes, Lil Wayne, and Lil Kim. That's the top 25. Who does he remind you of?
I'm gonna go more Prodigy, Raekwon-ish.
And so this is what I'm trying to say. How about this, Mike? Raekwon's at 16. Prodigy's at 23, 22. What if I told you he's a better solo album maker than the both of them?
Huh.
Right. Because how about this, Mike? You're the one that always tells me it's like, oh, well, the Purple Tape, it's like that's a collaborative effort. And you're right. Purple Tape 2, collaborative effort. And you're right. Mike, Prodigy is renowned for the Mobb Deep stuff more than the solo stuff.
No, you're right.
I bring up Quiet Storm and I bring up Keep It Thorough. But have you heard? I want you to name 4 Prodigy albums or 4 Raekwon albums that are better than the last 4 that I named in a row.
But Conway doesn't have that collective work that those guys have.
So he may not. He may not have their peak, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a consistency that they don't have, and don't we usually applaud that? Like, isn't part of how LeBron got to be the all-time leading scorer isn't because he's a great shooter, but because he's consistently great at the things that he does, and that's going to lead to something?
Yeah.
And don't we usually applaud when people do that in other sports, like the length of their greatness? Like, I noticed when I was talking about Serena in the chat, people were bringing up Djokovic and Nadal and Federer. Mike, I've been watching Roger Federer since I was a teenager. And Rafael Nadal, not much longer. Mm-hmm. It's like, no. Roger Federer got 20 majors because he was great for a long time, not a short time.
Mm-hmm.
Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic, they got 22 majors apiece, and they're tied for the lead all time right now with the French Open around the corner because they've been great for a long time, Mike. I've been watching Roger Federer since I was a teenager. I watched Roger Federer in Andre Agassi's run. The last time Andre Agassi was great, the only person that could beat him was Roger Federer. That's how we knew Roger Federer was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was at the U.S. Open when it happened. Agassi said after the match, that's the only guy that I've ever played against that I've been up 40 love to, and I thought I might lose the game still. That's Andre Agassi saying that about Roger Federer in like 2001, Mike. Great for a long, long time. And so what I'm saying is that Conway is showing that it's like, does he have the peak? And this is what I mean, like peaks matter. Like you're seeing peaks matter because Slick Rick is high up on the list. Because Chuck is high up on the list. Because Snoop is high up on the list. So peak matters. But you're also seeing consistency matters because Scarface is on the list.
Yeah.
LL is on the list. Kanye is on the list. Common is on the list.
Yeah.
Common's peak ain't better than everybody. Like, how about this?
Common's definitely there for consistency for the most.
How about say Kane, DMX, and Kanye all have greater peaks than Common, but he's ahead of them because Mike. The reality of the matter is that none of those guys have been as great as long as Common's been great, including Kanye.
Yeah, that's true. LP with the super chat says Albert Einstein is greater than Coop. Is that what you mean?
Well, Albert Einstein's not greater than me. He's just better than me at math.
Mad Max with the super chat says Coop just be rapping. This album is aight. Nothing crazy, and Fab has had a classic series of mixtapes continuously for a minute. Summertime Shootouts quality.
Mike, when do we ever talk about an all-time great rapper and talk about their mixtape series? End of discussion right there. Like at the point, this is what I keep trying to say about Fab respectfully. At the point that y'all have to bring up his mixtape series to validate his greatness, when we sitting up here about to have a It Was Written blueprint matchup, you feel what I'm saying?
I agree with you mean. Melvin Wright with the super chat says, Fab is better lyrically than Conway. That was the argument. And the verses went that way because Fab played himself, and it's simple as that. You just think Fab didn't play the right records. Okay.
I think it's not Mike. He knew that those records that are great to people up against MC's MC like Kiss. He knew better.
Yeah.
He from Brooklyn. He know what time, Mike. He from Brooklyn. He know what time it is. He know what time it is, Mike. He's like, no, I can't play that. He's like, he gonna murder me if I play that.
Yeah. Mad Max with the super chat says, I don't think Fab is better lyricist than Conway. He is just overall more entertaining and better. Conway reminds me of Big. They rap the same minus the voice. He said, Conway reminds me of Big.
This is what I'm saying. when have we ever given somebody the nod for being better for a verse as opposed to the album? When have we ever brought up the mixtape series? Like, Mike, here's what I mean about how the albums matter. For the times that I've criticized 50, what have people always said? They ain't said no fucking 50 Cent is the future. They'd be like, Coop, you bugging. Get Rich or Die Trying is dying. It's a masterpiece.
And he has hella great mixtapes.
Hip hop rap albums ever. 50 crazy. Guess who? Guess what? Newsflash. Fab been better lyrically than 50 from Jump. Does anybody up around here think that Fab is better than 50 overall?
I don't.
No.
Not me.
No. And Fab been better. They both came. Mike, I both started hearing Fab and 50 around the same time. Fab was always better lyrically than 50. Even 50 before he got shot with the different voice, Fab was lyrically better. Ain't nobody walking around New York saying Fab better than 50 based on some bar work. What we talking about?
Jay Short with the super chat says, to clarify, I don't think Conway needs to make it in the club, but 50 went out and expanded in his mixtape formula with the rest of Get Rich or Die Trying. Many Men, Don't Push Me, Wanksta, etc. I think that brings about a very interesting conversation, though, and I think Conway is extremely versatile, and it seems like he's able to get production from wherever he wants. But if he had, let's just say, 50 Cent's the quarterback in this Get Rich or Die Trying thing, right? And everything that helped him make that album is a system. If you put Conway into that same system, does he walk out with anything that's any resemblance of a Get Rich or Die Trying? Or is 50 just that special?
50's moment is special. And 50 himself as a marketer and a businessman are special.
His hook game is special, too.
The hook game might be the most special part.
Yeah.
The hook game, in the hook game, ask Drake, ask LL, hook game matters.
Gets you a long way.
Gets you a long, long way. So I don't think 50 is a fair comp. That's
ask Nelly, too.
Huh? Yes.
Yeah, ask Nelly.
That's Ja Rule. That's why I brought up Scarface. That's why I brought up Beans. It's like, no, their hook games have always been good to above average, but not stellar.
Did you say Drake, too?
Huh?
You say Drake, too?
Yeah, I did say Drake. Yeah. I said Drake first. I said ask
Yeah.
Drake and LL. Said that first.
Yeah.
Said that first. Get it right. Said that first. But that's why I brought up Scarface and I brought up Beans. And it's like, no, like, how can we be the type of culture that loves what Scarface did and love what Beans did and hear Conway and being like, oh, no, that ain't it. It's like, no, it's the same thing in a lot of ways, especially in he lyrically is precise in a lot of ways that Beans is, even though I would still give Beans the edge in their prime. I give Beans the edge over damn near anybody in his prime, though. You know what I'm saying?
Beans was
like,
special.
For real.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot. Mike, I'll take a prime Beans over a prime Thought.
I'm with you. I know that sounds controversial for most people. I'm with you.
No, that's how I feel about Beans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he talks with the street acumen that even though Thought talks street, but it's still intelligent street rhetoric. No, like Siegel say some stuff where it's like, oh.
Siegel makes you feel. And it's dope of an MC. You know, the things I feel when I hear Black Thought is like, yo, this nigga's an incredible MC. But the things I feel, you know, when you hear Siegel is different. Like, it hits different.
Yeah, like when he say your handshake ain't matching your smell. You niggas foul.
Yeah.
It hits you different when he says that. It's like, ooh.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, what made Scarface great is that he rarely has to tell you he's gangster because he knows it's obvious. Conway will repeatedly tell you like we never heard it.
Okay,
I think people have a problem with the content.
No. Mike, all jokes aside, that's somebody that hadn't listened to Scarface catalog. I can't even respect that.
That was Leroy Green. Leroy Green's listening to Scarface.
Leroy ain't listening to Face. Like what I just said. Yeah.
36 Chambers with the $20 super chat showing love. He says, this Conway project had weird sequencing, repetitive sounds, and his bar work, while admirable, is nothing outside of his usual bag. Stab Out, Flesh of My Flesh, The Chosen One, and Brick Fair are standouts, but that's it. What do you think about that assessment?
I think those are comfortable records. And that's why you're saying those records. That's actually the comfortable records. That's where he doesn't take chances. This is what I mean. We blame artists for playing it safe. It's like, no, Monogram is a chance. Water to Wine, yeah, that's a chance. Won't he do it? No, these are chances that he's taking. We talk about life after death and all the chances Big took. Like, also, too, Mike, I was thinking about this. It's like, no, like, All Eyes on Me sound that way because it's like Pac taking a lot of chances.
Yeah.
Every other city we go.
Yeah, Pac was real.
Like, that can come off as corny for somebody like Pac.
Yeah, his versatility was on full display on that album.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So how can we this is what I'm saying. We say, oh, these guys only talk a certain type of way. And then when the guys start talking differently, we're like, oh, I don't like that.
Is it at the same level?
I mean, at the core, that's what I feel like I'm hearing. I'm hearing it's like, well, if he would have made the records like Quarters and Brucifix and Stab Out and The Chosen for the duration of the album, y'all be like, oh, well, this is redundant, and he always talks this way. And then when he takes risk, it's like, oh, we don't like that. It's like, oh, y'all got to make up your mind.
Well, it's similar to the Snoop conversation we had the other day. Is it possible that people feel like when he does something different, it doesn't match the intensity or the quality of what he does in his comfortable lane?
See, but this is what I mean. It's like, okay, let me ask you this, Mike, because I think I'm the bigger Conway fan of the two. What records on here stand out to you? Maybe we need to turn the conversation and ask somebody who's not I'm a bigger Conway fan in the vein that I'm a big Prodigy fan, a big Beans fan, a big Scarface fan. Like those three guys, oh no, I love those guys and he's built in that vein. And so if I'm being biased, tell me from somebody that's not as big a fan of those guys as I am.
You're going to laugh when I say this. And speaking of fans and whatnot, I like the Kanye song.
Kanye song was dope.
It is. I like Monogram. I think
Monogram. Fly, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Won't He Do It's dope. I like when he jumps on stuff like Super Bowl. And, because he sounds comfortable on that. Now, Sauce Walker came in with his flow and, saying he was doing his thing the way he does it. But as an overall song, though, I think that many of these, he hit out the park. The Chosen, like I said, Won't He Do It? Tween Cross Tween.
Yes.
Obviously I like Brooklyn Chop House.
Brooklyn Chop House. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like when people are like, this is a mid, it's like, tell me the songs are mid. Mike, let's just run it down right quick. Quarters, that's not mid. Brucifix, not mid. Monogram, Stab Out, Flesh of My Flesh, Kanye, The Chosen, Water to Wine.
Yeah, these are good songs.
The first 8 songs are all dope records. Like, so when people are like, it's a mid, it's like, what's mid to y'all?
Right. Mid compared to what? Mad Max in the Super Chat says,
how about this,
you
Mike?
see what the polls look like right now, right? The choices are great, dope, and mid. And mid is at 48%, dope is at 31%, and great is at 20%. We got 64 votes in here. Tough crowd, man. Tough crowd. Mad Max in the Super Chat says, but Fab's mixtapes are original music. If he was rapping today, they would be albums. They would be his albums.
There ain't nobody trying to hear that because when Fab was doing all those mixtapes, you know what other niggas was doing? Making mixtapes and making full albums. That's why I bought up 50.
Well, how do you feel about original music mixtapes, though? How do you feel about original music mixtapes? And you don't consider those to be full projects?
Do I get to count Trapper Die 1 and Trapper Die 2 finally?
I mean, I guess so. Are they all original music, or was he rapping over other people's stuff? I thought he was rapping over other people's stuff.
No, Trapper Die 1 and 2 is mostly... Like, Lose My Mind is on Trapper Die 2, Mike. That's why it's not on 103. When you go on 103, hey,
you're right,
that's on Trapper Die 2. It never even seen 103.
Yeah, because Illin is on Trapper Die 2. Hood Politics. Yeah, these are original songs. Yeah.
I'm the type of boss. I'm the type of brag.
I'm the type of nigga.
Play a chest on his ass. 416s,
Like
knock your
it's lit.
chest at your ass, leave a nigga on the concrete like the nigga working abs.
That shit fire.
The way I wake that workout, call me a trainer.
Trainer.
Pour that water over the top, who needs
Need
a
a
strainer?
strainer. Yo,
Then I sit
Jeezy was
down,
rapping
air
on there.
fry, who needs a hanger? Airport hours, Sunday to Sunday. Fly them bitches straight out the yard, call it a runway. Call me Sensei.
Jeezy
Miyagi.
Miyagi.
Got an old school whip game. Call it Atari. Got some red bones to go out the Phoenix. Get that Amari. And every time you walk in the crib, it looks safari. And they don't play with no Young Money. Nicki Minaj.
Powder in the air like bronze.
What the fuck you talking about, Mike? Mike, Fab don't have a track on none of those soul tapes like Illin.
Illin's hard. Deontay Smith.
Mike, listen to what I'm saying. On the mixtapes they talking, he don't have no Illin.
Deontay Smith for the super chat says, "What makes an album a classic in 2023? I feel like this Conway album would have been better appreciated in a previous generation."
Exactly. I agree. Facing beans once again, Mike. Where to go hard or go home at? Like niggas still playing go hard, go home in the streets down here. That's Trap or Die 2. That's original mixtape shit, Mike.
I think you're right. That should be counted in Jeezy's catalog.
Mike, problem. My Camaro? Yeah.
Jay Short with the super chat says, we were talking about 40 earlier. West Coast legend, but went out and worked with other artists like Lil Jon, T-Pain. After a while, he's still 40. I think that's fair. I mean, but I think that Conway does a little bit of that. He's stretched out on the, what was that, the La Camarena project? Yeah. He was working with a lot of people that he normally doesn't work with on that project.
200 Pies, J.I.D. and Luda, Scatterbrain. Yeah, Fab's on this joint. Like, who you want him to work with? He got beans on God Don't Make Mistakes.
I think Jay Short
on Chanel Pearls. Like, who you want? That's what I'm saying. It's like, what do you want him to do?
I think Jay Short wants somebody else to take the helm of executive producing for a chance.
Got a murder beat.
But he wants, let's just say, Dr. Dre to take over the album or something.
Oh, he want Dr. Dre to take over the album?
Well, I mean, or somebody who's gonna just executive produce the album.
What's Side Gun executive produced from a king to a god?
But I'm saying, he's saying that maybe he goes and gets somebody else to executive produce another album.
Call Hit Warrior Alchemist. Next question.
DJ Tim Space King with the super chat says, Conway needs to work with Crisis producer, a whole 11-song album. I don't like the new album.
Quarters is hard. That's Crisis again. And Jesus Crisis, of course. Jesus Crisis is one of my favorite rap songs of the modern era, Mike.
He killed that shit. Mad Max with the super chat says, albums matter in your era, Coop. Fab and Conway rap in my era, or Fab overlaps in my era, and it's original music. I'm talking like a Wayne fan bringing his mixtape.
Let me tell you something. No, albums matter in every era, because the album before my era is Slick Rick and Kane and Rakim and KRS and Cool G Rap. And for all the great songs that they made, and even though those albums are more single-centric, guess what those guys are remembered for, Mike? What you remember Slick Rick for? Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick. Mike, when we talk about Rakim, we say paid in full and follow the leader and let the rhythm hit him. When we say KRS-One, we say criminal minded, by all means necessary, sex and violence. You get what I'm saying? When we talk about Kane, we say long live the Kane. We don't sit up there and be like, man, ain't no half-stepping was the shit, but the rest of the album, man. No, that ain't what we say. When we talk about Cool G Rap, we be like, man, one, a dead or alive, and it's a them. No, Road to Riches. When we talk about NWA, be like, man, straight out of Compton. We don't be like that fuck the police song.
I do think though,
and that's more single, and it was more single-centered back then than it has been in any other time, and we still laud the albums. People got to stop making excuses and understand what the standard is. I'm tired of people making excuses for what the standard is.
I do think in the digital era,
standard is standard. You can make classic albums or you can't. If you can't, don't make it seem like, oh, well, it was this era. It's like, can a motherfucker make a good album of Kane?
Well, I do think in the digital era, mixtapes do matter. I think mixtapes hold about as much weight as albums do in the digital era, because it's like they're all one and the same. It's all original music. once mixtapes became all original music, it's like it got conflated where albums, in my opinion, got diminished because now they're on a similar level. Where the
Mike,
mixtape used to prepare you for the album, now a mixtape tape could just be it.
how about this, Mike? These same people that are saying this, if we just pull up and start rating songs, they're going to stop watching this show. So it's absurd that they're even saying that. The same people that are saying this, Mike, if we stop covering albums and start covering songs, since this era ain't like that, those are the same people that are going to start pulling up and be, oh man, you know, according to hip hop, don't even be doing their work like that. They just covering this nigga song. They don't even do the in-depth analysis that they used to do. You get what I'm saying? It's like, so even like the people that are saying that, they need to understand that part of the reason why they started pulling up is because we started providing full in-depth album analysis. This whole podcast is based off a music review album that I wrote going viral. Album review, not song review. Ain't no song on Jay Electronica and Jay-Z's album about to start no whole goddamn podcast, Mike. So the fact that people are even saying that, like people that are in this chat saying this don't understand that this whole podcast got birth on an album review that I wrote. I'm going to say that again. On a album review that I wrote, not a song review. This whole podcast got birthed on an album review, and people is literally pulling up and telling me that albums don't matter. Well, how the fuck did we get here, Mike?
Right.
That's the dumbest shit I heard yet. Albums don't matter. It's like, I don't know, the 1.4 million followers that we have pretty much fucking exist based on an album review that I wrote that we picked up and started piggybacking off of virally. So how the fuck?
Our man with the super chat says, "Peace, is Conway better than Gibbs?" Huh, that's a good one. I think bar for bar I might pick Conway, but I think Gibbs has the better catalog.
As a lyricist, picking Conway.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I said, go show me the guy with 4 albums, straight like Conway, Gibbs.
No, that's
Gibbs got
good.
better albums, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No. If you want to have that conversation and say Conway's not doing that, is he giving us a soul sold separately? No, he didn't give us a soul sold separately. He didn't give us an Alfredo. From a king to a god, I put slightly ahead of Alfredo. I would probably reverse those now, based on how they've held up. Like those were my 2 and 3. I would flip those and tell you Freddie made the better album. So I'll tell you Freddie's 4 best projects are better than Conway's 4 best projects.
Oh yeah, I agree. LP with the super chat says, "Thought raps like a cool librarian." Yeah, he does. Jay Short with the super chat says, "Fabulous is like is a rap version of an NBA player, Jeff Green. You know the Hall of Fame talent is there. See it in the spurts, but you can't count on it."
I was thinking Billy Owens.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says, "Clearly Fab is controlled by Def Jam, which is why his mixtapes are held higher than his albums. Come on now, guys. Be fair here."
Hold on, Mike. When we were rating Pusha T, did we bring up one Re-Up Gang mixtape?
No, but I think we should have. I think mixtapes should get in the fold, really. Because mixtapes are pretty much albums in a certain era.
Which era is that?
I would say from 2007 on, 2006 on. Like mixtapes, they're pretty much. I mean, when people start making original, because they were saying Section 80 was a mixtape.
For me, 50 and Re-Up Gangs, or who made the mixtapes a thing, that's like 03 to 06.
But that's when people were still kind of rhyming over other people's stuff. Like all the stuff that Crit made, all the stuff that was noteworthy were quote unquote mixtapes, but those are albums. It's all original stuff.
Mike, if that's the case, we need to have Mike. If that's the case, we need to have a Jeezy conversation, Mike. Because Trapper Die 1 too.
We could do that. You know, I mean, all the stuff that's original music, and I mean, even they were labeling Section 80 a mixtape for the longest, and I was the one that was like, "Nah, that's an album, man. It's all original music."
Mike, hey, real talk. Maybe this is biased. It's like Fab got something better than Trapper Die 1 or 2 to you. You think one of them Soul Series mixtapes better than Trapper Die 1 or 2?
The first one could be.
Maybe I'm too Atlanta biased, Mike. No, the hell it's not.
You don't think the first Soul Tape is better than Trapper Die 102?
Like, do it look like I'm playing when I say that? Like, do it look like I'm joking when I say it? It's like, no.
Lord. 36 Chambers with a super chat says, taking a chance, he said, taking a chance is encouraged, but it doesn't always land. For me, the chances Conway took didn't land, and that's the problem. It has to hit right. That's fair. Um,
No, it has to land. You have to land the jab.
Yeah.
You can't throw the punch. You got to land it. That's fair.
D Gibbs with the super chat says the new LL Force single is fresh.
It is.
I hadn't listened to it.
It's pretty dope.
I gotta check it out.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, LL was my guy. Did Q-Tip do it?
Huh?
Did Q-Tip produce it?
I didn't even. You know what? I literally pulled it up on the way home. I didn't even.
I'm gonna check that out. 36 Chambers with the super chat says averaging the votes puts Conway on the low end of good. So the votes look like 26% say the album's great, 37% say the album's dope, and 37% say the album's dope, and 38% say the album's mid.
That's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I guess so. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, Conway is has like 20 albums. That's like 400 songs. He should be doing diamond numbers. Problem is, people know what they're gonna get before listening. The Rock is in the building.
But y'all don't know what y'all getting from Andre, but y'all tell me he's top 10 all time. See how people be? I hate to be shady like that, Mike. Y'all wouldn't know what type of album y'all would get out of Andre, but y'all think he's top 10 based on what?
He doesn't even have to make an album.
What creative concept for an album has Andre even gave y'all to make y'all think that, you know, he can create a whole album? Because while you're saying Conway has made 20 albums, that's part of why I'm giving him credit. It's like, no, do you hear him expanding and growing as he continued to make albums? That might be, I don't know, an artist.
Artists make art. Mad Max in the super chat says,
paint, writers write, singers sing. Mike, did you know that? Writers write, singers sing, painters paint.
Yeah.
Creators create.
Mad Max in the super chat says, Future made his legend off of mixtapes. Beast Mode, 56 Nights, those are tapes. Same with the Migos. I agree with that. LP with the super chat says, all those mixtapes that came out during the blog era were albums. I agree with that too. He says K-Dot, Cole, Gibbs, Crit, Currency, Nipsey, all drop classics disguised as mixtapes. Yeah, because Nipsey's Victory Lap was coined as his debut album. And I'm like, I understand, but I don't like diminishing original music. It's not like he was just rapping over grinding or something. You know what I mean? Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, this album is great. Some of these critical comments are suspect. It feels like perhaps some of us are just listening real quick to give a reaction.
That's what I'm saying. How about this? Because we also live in this type of era, Mike, where that if we don't like something, we'll listen to it for 90 seconds and then we'll cut it off and we'll go to the next joint.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I'm not being funny when I say this. It's like, well, part of why people started pulling up here, and this is something that I know because, you know, I used to read the comments very, very early on, because we were providing in-depth analysis of things that other people weren't. Like, we were covering and listening to the project in full, and people liked our sentiments. And it seems like now it's become more of a thing to have a dissenting opinion about what y'all do. But I say this respectfully. How many of y'all have listened to this album 4 times already like I have? Not being funny. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be like, it's like, no. I get what you're saying if you don't like it, but it's like, Mike, this is part of how we make our living now. And so when I'm coming up and giving you a review, if you think I've listened to this project a time or only 2, well, here's what I'll tell you, Mike. You can go check the tape. Anytime I've only listened to the project a time or 2, I literally come up on here and say, Mike, I've only listened to it once or twice and I need more time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't pull up and say that. So unless you've listened to this album about 4 or 5 times, respectfully, about the fact that I'm actually like earning a little bit of a living off doing this, and that you guys actually pull up to hear me and Mike B's commentary, if you haven't listened to the album about 4 or 5 times already like I have, maybe you don't have my perspective because you haven't listened enough. Maybe your take might be based on your first or second take, and that's fine. But understand, I don't provide that type of analysis to you. You do understand that when I take these notes, that I don't listen to an album once or twice. I listen to it consecutively. And when I do only listen to it once or twice, I pull up and tell this audience live so that they know that my perspective is the perspective of somebody that literally hasn't had the proper time to ingest. Because in order to ingest something, you have to put it into the cycle of your life.
Mm-hmm.
For me, putting it into the cycle of your life, I believe a cycle doesn't start until time 3. As in, doesn't start. As in, has somebody that's only listened to this album 4 times is in the process of listening to it for the 5th time? I'm only in the 2nd spin cycle right now. So what spin cycle are you in when you're dissecting this album, and what type of critique and rating are you getting it? And do you think that your ear is that good that after listening to something for a time or two, you have the right to come up on here and say that it's not good? Because I would never do that to an artist, Mike. That's why when I say I've only listened to something for a time or two, I say it. Because that's not fair to the artist. You do understand that, right?
Yeah.
So all of you making your comments, I hope you've listened to this at least 4 or 5 times like I have. Because if you haven't, you need to say less. Because part of why you pull up here and listen to me, and a part of why I'm able to provide these insightful takes, is because I listen to this shit over and over again like a fucking maniac. Hello.
Jay Short with the super chat says, we need to stop saying Biggie's formula. Heavy D was the original dude with the R&B hooks, who could also rhyme over Pete Rock and Premier. Even the reggae tracks like Respect, Biggie did it better. Just did it better.
Hold on, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Said so you didn't sleep since the album dropped, Coop. If you want to know the truth, the answer is barely, which is usually what happens on Friday, as Mike knows. Mm-hmm. I stayed up to midnight to listen to this album. I stayed up and listened to this album twice. I didn't go to bed till 3. I had some things to take care of, so I was up at 6:30 in the morning, like I usually am. By 7:30 in the morning, I had taken care of some things, and I listened to the album again for a 3rd time. Now, and this is what I said, Mike. I've always told people this. I listen to it at least 3 times before I review it because I have to listen to it in different settings, different climates, and different spaces. So I listen to it late at night. Mm-hmm. I listen to it early in the morning. And then when I finally got some things done and took a nap, I got up and listened to it again one more time and was literally on track 5, Mike, of listening to it for the 5th time when you called me in. So when Leroy Green is asking if I haven't had any sleep about doing this show, Leroy, I haven't had barely any fucking sleep on a Thursday going into a Friday for about 3 years, fam. I take it that seriously. So no, I ain't had no sleep. I rarely sleep on Friday when a project or an artist of Conway's stature or magnitude, in my opinion, is coming out. I sacrifice my sleep.
Brian with the super chat says, mixtapes like Trap or Die 1 and 2 should count towards the rating of an artist's catalog. Just like FNL should count towards J. Cole's catalog. As long as it's mostly original music, which those mixtapes are. I agree. Friday Night Lights is another one where I feel like, okay, it's from the mixtape era, but it's an original piece of work. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, I would watch y'all analyze songs too, by the way, to be honest. Sometimes singles need more examination since the streaming era caters to it. Chat mentioned singles weekly, respectfully.
And respectfully, we brought up quarters on this show, and y'all said almost nothing, respectfully. I remember everything that happens on this show. I got an incredible memory. We literally previewed the single quarters, and the chat was damn near dead silent while we were talking about the record outside of a couple people saying that they like it. I remember when we had the conversation. When we cover the singles, y'all don't respond. When we cover the albums, y'all have something to say.
Thumbs up in the chat. Thumbs up in the chat. Esquire with the super chat says, NEMC rankings today. I don't know if we're going to... I want to dedicate a whole show to finishing that, because I think when we start covering it the tail end, it puts us in a position not to finish. I don't know. I think Monday, maybe we could just totally dedicate Monday to it since we did have this music to kind of, talk about today. And we did got to do this, it was written blueprint thing.
No, fam. I want everybody in the chat to understand this. No, I'm not saying my word is bond, but I'm saying if you've listened to this album as much as me, then tell me so. I'm going to tell you how professors usually work when they're usually like teaching the class. Mike, the professor's usually teaching the class because he's usually ingested the material more than the students had. Mm-hmm. So it's the professor is smarter. It's not the professor is better. It's not that the professor knows more. The professor's just more acquainted with the material. He's
Right.
not better. He or she, let me say, is not better, not smarter. Mike, not even more qualified, just more prepared because of the ingesting. And so when I'm saying it's like, no, if you've listened to this album 4 or 5 times like I have, then please share with me those thoughts if you've taken it to that level.
Right.
But if you haven't taken it to that level, respect the fact that it's like I've taken the time and the effort to do that. And so that maybe some of the things that I'm saying are valid. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm saying if you think that it's like that, show me that you've put in the work that I've put in, Mike. Show me that you've been in the gym as long as I have, dissecting this album. And I'm going to give you the same level of respect and credence that you should give me. Mike, let's bring up Kobe again. You want to know why everybody respect Kobe so much? Because when niggas was showing up to the gym, Kobe was already in the gym shooting.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of how he earned his respect. And so all I'm telling you is just like, no, I don't got no problem if you in the gym shooting. It's like, you understand, I've been in the gym shooting since midnight last night, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, don't you usually respect when other people put in that time and effort in other fields?
Yeah, you got to.
Like Mike, wasn't nobody walking around and seeing Kobe's work ethic saying it's like, no, I work just like fam. They respected the fact that he worked like that. So it's like, nah, if you didn't like listen to this album 4 or 5 times respectfully about the fact that I literally pull up and do this and I spend the actual time that it takes, it's like, no, all I'm telling you is that maybe look at my take from the perspective of somebody that's listened to it 4 or 5 times. Maybe you're not where I am with it yet. Nobody's saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm more qualified. I'm saying I put the fucking work in. I've been in the gym shooting.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says, now we comparing Fab and Jeezy. Wow. Jay Short with the super chat says, mixtapes don't count because they aren't good. People don't count them. See Lil Wayne. Let's see. We're going to rate this and we're going to go on to the next topic. Mad Max says, I never said the album wasn't good, but I'm not forcing myself to play a background music album. Can't be great if I forget it was on.
Hold on, Mad Max. I mean, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he say in so many words, kind of paraphrasing, that it wasn't that good to him, though?
He did say it was mid, I thought.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, didn't you kind of say it wasn't that good, though, Mad Max? It's like...
Or maybe I'm getting him confused with somebody else.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying what I'm saying so that you can think about it. It's like, no. Don't change your stance or don't change your point. Just understand most of y'all probably ain't listened to the album 4 or 5 times, so now you're feeling some type of way because you think I'm in my feelings. I'm just trying to show you. It's like, no, you're just not in the gym shooting like me. So it's like, I'm going to take my opinion over yours until you start shooting like me.
So I'm going to take my opinion over yours. Yeah, Brian with the super chat.
Kobe didn't think nobody was better than him, Mike, because Kobe ain't seen nobody work like him. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't about his athleticism or his gifts. He like, no, nigga, I'll be up at like 4, 5 a.m. doing this. It's like, when you doing that, then come holler at me.
Right. Brian with the super chat says, those Nipsey Hussle mixtapes definitely got to count as albums. Some of the best hustle music ever. Original music, classic. I feel that way too, man. I'm like, look, if it's original music, count it. If it's something that you ripped off from somebody else or whatever, yeah, that's not, something to count. But the one thing that they will say about the mixtape era, even though it's original music, there was really never a science to putting together a mixtape as far as like, beginning, middle, and end. Like an album tells the story. Good Kid, Mad City is put together like an album. You know what I mean? Whereas Overly Dedicated is more just a bunch of original songs.
No, okay, so hold on, Mike, and you're right. I want to go to something Mark Tyson just said. He said, I'm not going to listen to something multiple times if I don't like it. No, I get it. Mark, you don't get paid to do it, I do. That's my whole point about what I'm saying to everybody. It's like, no, y'all get to listen to something once or twice, and if you don't like it, y'all get to sidestep it. Whether I like it or not, I have to keep on ingesting it and taking it seriously about y'all. That's why I'm saying it's like, no, your perspective is coming from somebody that doesn't have to do this. You do understand I'm talking about the things that I have to do. You get what I'm saying? Because not doing that means I'm not doing that job. If I'm listening to the album as much as y'all are getting shortchanged. You feel what I'm saying? Because aren't you pulling up to hear the analysis and the breakdown, if I'm listening to it the way y'all is listening to it, then we have a problem. Don't nobody as good as Kobe go to see Kobe.
Mad Max
Like,
with
if
the
that's
super
be on the
chat.
court playing against Kobe.
Mad Max says, mid.
Man,
Mad,
no
hold
podcast,
on, hold
Kevin.
on. Mad Max says mid doesn't mean bad. It means that it's
Yes,
alright.
it does.
That's what I
Yes, it
said.
does.
Okay.
You see how people running back now that I've actually broken it down? He's like, mid don't mean bad. Since when?
36 Chambers with the super chat says, I knew KD3 was it after one listen. I knew Mr. Morale wasn't it after one listen. It's hard to force myself to want to listen to more when it doesn't hit.
You don't have. I do. Mike does. That's what I'm saying. That's why you're pulling up to watch the show. So when we're giving you the critique and the analysis of it, it's like, if I'm telling you, no, this album is dope, that's my way of saying, not that I'm right. Maybe you should listen again to the level that I have. That's all a critique and analysis is about, Mike. I've given albums whole second chances before because somebody went and reviewed it and was like, no, this shit is dope. Mike, Deeper Than Rap by Rick Ross. I wasn't a Rick Ross fan. I literally read a review. They're like, Ross is grown as an MC. I was like, oh, that's some bullshit. I'm like, let me listen to this shit. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. So you're
Like,
just saying that
okay.
people might need to give this album a second or
I was
third
like, I
listen.
might have needed to listen to it more than those 1.5 times that I listened to it when I was riding around the city with my homies and we was doing a few different things. I really wasn't paying attention like that. And it's like, I sat down and listened to it one day and I was like, damn. I listened to it again a few days later. I was like, oh, I missed this. It's like, damn, Ross getting nice.
Mm-hmm. LP with the super chat says, Mike, Return to Forever and Forever and a Day were themes. Yeah, you know what? Again, Crit's different, man. I think some of Crit's best work is in the mixtape circuit, and he's one of the artists that made me take on this stance because I feel like if you leave his mixtapes out, you're leaving out his best material. And it's not because, you know what I'm saying, he's rapping over other people's stuff. He's doing original material. A lot of the stuff that he produced that seemed to be some stuff that he wanted to make without the label's involvement. And when the label got involved, it wasn't as good as his mixtape stuff, in my opinion. I know a lot of people feel like that about Crit's material.
So here's what I say respectfully to that, and not in sort of any sort of dissenting opinion. How fair is that to the Pusha T's and the 50 Cents that have done comparable mixtape material but still made stuff like Daytona and Get Rich or Die Trying, Mike?
Well, I think that elevates them, you know.
And so that's why the mixtape stuff don't matter like that, is because, no, there are guys that exist, like Mike, the guy that we call the greatest MC of all time. Like Mike, his B-side game is the sickest B-side game ever. When we talk about his greatness, you know we don't be talking about his singles.
I do talk about his unreleased stuff, though. And I'll say that
That's what I mean by B-side. B-sides and unreleased. I
Yeah.
sometimes take those as synonyms. But
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Jay Short
Life
was,
is like a dice game, Mike.
yeah, incredible.
That ain't no album shit. That ain't even no mixtape shit, Mike. That just ain't never been released. And it's like, oh no, that guy.
And then he has 2 lost tapes on top of that.
Right, but Mike, what I'm really trying to say is that really, when you're that guy, it don't matter if you exist in the mixtape format, the album format, or group format, or whatever format. Mike, when you're the man, and you're going to shine. Mike, Ice Cube is going to shine no matter where he is. He can be in NWA, he's going to shine. He can be with the Lynch Mob or with West Side Connection, he's going to shine. He can be on a solo tip on New York with the Bomb Squad, he's going to shine. He can come back to Cali with DJ Pooh, he's going to shine. It's who Ice Cube is. And so when we get to rating this mixtape thing, it's just kind of like, it's like if you got to go to an artist mixtapes to give them their props, they don't deserve those highest level props.
Okay. I think that's an era thing too, though. I do think for
that
people.
Ain't no era thing.
No,
like
no,
Ice
no.
Cube
I
did
think
Jack
for the
and
people.
Mike.
I think for the people who came up in the Crit, A$AP Rocky, J. Cole, Kendrick era, I think mixtapes are just important. Like they didn't view the album as that moment. The mixtapes were the moment for those artists
Mike,
that came up in that
Atlanta,
era.
Jeezy's Trapper Die 1 or 2 were the moments. Didn't nobody,
Yeah.
nobody running around the city talking about the album.
No. Those moments, I mean, those mixtapes meant a lot for Jeezy. And I think the momentum of those mixtapes you're talking about for Jeezy is what created this environment for the next generation, meaning Crit and them, to really depend on mixtapes. Like before, because before when 50 did it, the mixtapes were thought of something that you make that'll get you your deal. Whereas the other generations like, nah, mixtapes is what's gonna get me my fans. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
that's what I mean when I'm bringing up 50 in the clips specifically. You have to understand that these were kind of like outcast in music industry circles
Right.
because of the type of material that they were creating. It's like nobody wanted to hear the clips pushing all these bricks. They was really out here really pushing the shit. It's like, no, the label was not with that shit. Like, they're like, you niggas can't talk like this. We're putting you on the shelf. You hear it on Mr. Me Too. These are the days of our lives, and I'm sorry to the fans, but them crackers won't play fair at Jive. Like, they made mixtapes because they had to, not because they wanted to. That is literally Pusha T telling you, it's like, the motherfucking label wasn't tripping off of how we was talking. You be getting albums out the clips and not these re-up game mixtapes. But since they not, streets with it, gang, gang.
Yeah.
Jay people acting like that ain't happened.
Jay Short with a super chat says, I feel you, Coop. This is what happened on It Was Written in 96. Most dudes skimmed through it, didn't hear Illmatic, and called it mid. They look foolish now. And speaking of which, I think we should go on to that It Was Written in Blueprint thing. What do you want to rate this album so far?
So this was my thing. Remember when I was like, I think it's an album of the year contender, but I'm not sure because I was afraid that people were going to do this because I felt like he did something different. And I felt like he took some chances on here, and I wasn't sure how people were going to feel like about the chance. And so I tentatively want to give this a 4 because I feel like it's that.
It's definitely a 4.
Right. No, Mike, for me, it's definitely a 4, but not to be funny. It's like we are, according to hip hop, for the people, by the people, and sometimes people feel like it's like they're not included in it. And I've been making it a point to try to make it more inclusive despite my thoughts. So it's like, no, if y'all don't feel like that this is that,
y'all think it's a 3.5. Is this what people think? Maybe I need to put some scores up here on the poll.
How about this, Mike? This is what I want to say is that like, I want to go through some of the albums that we have right now.
Okay.
Here, hold on.
Let me get some of these super chats while you're looking. Mad Max says, since when did mid mean bad? Mid is short for middle, aka average. And in between it says, in between, stop it now, Coop. I also had super chat saying that it's all right, not great.
The max average is a 2.5. Think about what you're saying when you say average or mid. Average, mid. If it's mid, as in the middle, and the rating system is 5, that means you think the album's a 2.5.
Yeah, that's the middle.
Right. So that means bad. Whenever something in this hip hop world gotten half of a rating, they're considered to be good. When has a 2.5 ever been good? When is a 2.5 good in Rolling Stone? When is it? When is a 50
out of 100 a good grade on a test? Right.
Hold on. If who was it that we had to keep on pulling up on about they whack ratings? Pitchfork. If Pitchfork give this album a 5 out of 10, you think that's fair? Because that's what mid would be. That's not good. Mike, we gave the Black Thought a 4. Do you think this is better than the Black Thought?
That's I think it is better than the Black Thought.
It's clearly better than the Black Thought to me. That's why it's like when people are like, it's mid, it's like, no, we gave the Black Thought a 4. Nobody said nothing. It's like the first 3 records on this album are better than the Black Thought.
I feel like this has to be a 4.25, and we could probably revisit it.
Well, here's how I feel, Mike. We gave the Jack Harlow a 4.2, Mike. Are we rating Jack Harlow too high?
Maybe we're rating the Jack Harlow too high because this is better than that. Yes.
Well, let's make the Jack Harlow a 4. The JD and Currency's a 4.2. Are we rating that too high?
I'm cool with that being there.
The Sky Zoo is a 4.1. Are we rating it too high?
I think Sky Zoo might be rated slightly too low. I think this and Sky Zoo are on similar pars. But if you want to say this album's better than Sky Zoo's, I'm cool with that. So I think the 4.1 is fine. Like it's mid, and we're comparing it to like albums that we've already given a 4.1 and a 4.2 to, and people didn't say anything really about those albums. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. It's like I'm trying to find like some reasonable middle ground because it's like we gave the J Skis a 4.5, so y'all still think the Skis is better. Yeah, Mike, do people think...
Mike, how about this? The Larry June and Alchemist got a 4.1. You don't think this is the same level as the Larry June and Alchemist?
I think this is better, personally. And not
That's
by a
why it's
whole
like,
lot,
no,
man.
I'm with you on the 4.2, but it's like when people is pulling up saying it's mid, it's like, well, mid don't get 4.2 ratings.
Yeah.
So we have some sort of difference in opinion. Because I'm not saying it's the best shit ever. I'm saying it's better than God Don't Make Mistakes, which we gave a 4.
Mm-hmm.
So 4.2 would be kind of like appropriate. But it's like, when I'm looking at the other albums this year, Mike, like the Lloyd Banks ain't as good as this.
No, it's not.
Do you like the Armin album better than this?
I think this is slightly better than the Armin album.
We gave the Armin a 4.1. That's why I'm saying 4.2 is appropriate.
I think 4.25 is fine with this. Yeah, 4.2 or whatever. Mo
And
Better
so
One
I
with the
just want
super
people to
chat.
think that we're tripping because it's like I didn't hear this flex about like people have literally been pulling up on me all week talking about how great the Armin album is, and it's like I heard this Conway album again, and I'm like, it's just as good as the Armin album, if not a little bit better. And not to knock Armin, because I think when Armin is at the point of where he can compete with Conway record wise, he's doing a great job about his come up.
Of course.
But this Conway is better than God Don't Make Mistakes, which was a 4. I thought this was about a 4.2, 4.3, Mike.
Yeah. I'm with you. Mo Better One with the super chat says, my only critique is that Conway gives a lot of one verse songs. He's too good for that. The critique.
You can blame the times on that, Mike.
Yeah. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, Conway is not, it was written, not an appointment, not an appropriate comparison. Let's see.
Like, Mike, we gave the Swiss a 3.5, Mike. Think about that. Nobody said nothing when we gave the Swiss 3.5.
Nah, that's true.
This is way better than the Swiss, and y'all know that. So how is this not... Mike, for even the people that don't agree with us, it's like, if y'all let us ride with the Swiss being a 3.5, y'all telling me this ain't at least a 4? Well, that would take it above mid. That makes it a solid, dope project.
Michael Williams with the super chat says, in a vacuum, who's the better / more talented rapper? Lauryn Hill or Andre? In a vacuum, give me Andre.
Vacuum, give me Lauryn.
I'm not mad at that. The vacuum part is why I said Andre. Lauryn at least has songs with 3 verses that, you know.
No, Mike. That's what I'm saying. It's like, no. My vacuum is cool, Mike. Have you heard The Mask or How Many Mics? Or
Guantanamo?
But... Hey, I'll take my vacuum.
Have you heard of Coop and I? You heard,
That's not a vacuum, Mike.
No, I'm talking about the song. You know what I'm saying? Like, the mic work on there.
I'm saying, when I think vacuum with the rapper, it's like, I think a verse. It's like, no. I'll take that chick that's on How Many Mics. You know what I'm saying?
I was talking about the Coop and I verse.
Like I said, I'll take the young lady on How Many Mics. I'm going to say that again.
Over the Twice Upon a Time, there was a boy who died but lived happily ever after. But that's another chapter. Live from Home of the Brave. With Dirty Dollars, Beauty Parlors, Baby Ballers, Bowling Ball and Parlors, Street Scholars, majoring in culinary arts. You know how to work bread, cheese, and dough from scratch. But see, the catch is you can get caught. Know what you selling, what you bought, so cut that big talk. Let's walk to the bridge, meet me halfway. And you may see some chillin' dead up on the pathway. Spinpo babies walking slowly to the candy lady. It's looking bad, need some words like the hope like the words maybe, if probably.
If or probably.
Yeah, more than a hobby when my turntables get wobbly, they don't fall. Sorry, y'all are off the drift. So when it comes...
I get mad frustrated when I rhyme. Thinking of all the kids that try to do this for all the wrong reasons. Seasons change, mad things rearrange, but it all remains the same. It's like the Love Doctor Strange. I'm saying like the Zappa. Get red like a snapper when they do that. Got your whole squad saying true that. If only they knew that. It was you who was a regular. Sold your soul for some secular music that's whack. Plus you use that loop over and over. Claiming that you got a new style. Your attempts are futile. Yeah. He don't want that. He don't want none of that. He don't want none of that.
I disagree.
Mr. Dangerous like... Hold on, what did he say? Sweet like licorice, dangerous like syphilis. No, he don't want none of that, Mike. He don't want none of that. Mike, I keep trying to tell you, there are grown men who are some of the greatest rappers that we ever lived that in 1996, they ain't want none of that, Mike. And he's part of that list. He don't want none of that. He don't want none of that.
You ready to do this? It was written in Blueprint?
No, Mike. Are you ready, Mike? And when are we doing the station head for this Jay and this Nas?
Okay, we got to set a date for that.
B-sides, man.
We got to set a date for that.
Man. Who you be with?
Everybody wants a
Change
piece of
that
Mike.
shit.
Okay.
Mike,
You want to do
that was
that
a little
next
bit.
Friday
Mike,
or
that was a
something?
cue for you. Mike, that was a cue for you to use "Celebration" off the Streets as watching soundtrack.
We should do this next Friday.
You're now tuned into the greatest.
What do you think about doing this next Friday?
Mike, I think that we already missed the month of April for you to catch this smoke because you was ducking me. People in the streets think that you were ducking Rap Roundtable. Ain't nobody ducking no Rap Roundtable. He was ducking Coop.
Yeah.
It's Nas and Jay-Z B-sides because you think that
All right.
B-sides is remix, Mike.
Well, I'm gonna have a busy week next week. Let's do this next Friday.
Mike, just remember when that beat from I4 and I dropped and you thought you played some hard shit. Just remember when.
They said that the chat shows it was written 74%. They said the chat shows it was written 74% of a blueprint. So
no, Mike.
we're about to find
let's
out.
Do it.
We're about to find out.
Mike, have you started working on your B-sides list though?
I kind of have.
You don't want this, Mike.
Gary Pierce with the super chat says, "Now I thought it was a features list. It was a features.
Just the features?
That's cool. I thought that's what we were doing.
Mike, it don't matter how you want it. How do you want it?"
Gary Pierce with the super chat says, "The problem is the people expect more from some and just take whatever from others." That's interesting. It's why Nasir and Nostradamus are mid, but if your favorite artist or someone else made it, it would get more respect. So
that's what I'm trying to say though, but this better. Okay, so listen, Conway's not Nas, but Nostradamus is why Nas is the reason Nostradamus is some mid, Mike. That's what I'm saying.
What about 444 though? People seem to highly regard that album. We sat there and played that album on Patreon. It's just not that good, man.
Mike, that album ain't no good. It ain't no good, man.
Yeah. All right, let's do this.
Out here like Larry Holmes looking flabby and sick. That's how 444 sound. Larry Holmes looking flabby and sick.
How many songs?
On my shit.
How many songs is on It Was Written?
It don't matter, Mike.
No, I'm trying to make sure we line up right.
13 records, Mike. It's 13 records.
13, that's what I thought.
13.
Well, 13's on the blueprint too, so this works out well.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, the ruler's back.
The message. Click.
Okay, that goes to the message.
Yeah.
Take over.
Street Dreams.
Take over. I got
That's
you.
fair.
Izzo.
I gave you power.
I don't know, man.
Mike, stop playing and go ahead and check it off.
I'll give you that one. I gave you power.
Mike, you know what giving me that, Mike. It's I gave you power versus fucking H to the Izzo. B to the... No, Mike, stop that.
My Nizzle used to dribble down in VA.
The dribble down in VA, Mike. It's so epic.
I do this for my culture. To let them know what a nigga look like when a nigga rent a Rosa. Show them how to move in a room full of vultures.
The barrel's my dick. Uncircumcised, pull my skin back and cock me. I bust off when niggas shot me. Hold on, when they unlocked me. Results of what happened when niggas shot me. Stunningly, I see niggas running from me for years. Yeah, stop that, Mike. Stop that.
Industry shady. It need to be taken over.
Mike,
record labels hate me. I'm raising the status quo up. I'm overcharging niggas for what they did to the Cold Crush.
Mike,
pay us like you owe us for all the years that you hold us. We could talk when money talks or talk more bucks. Okay, but yeah, I gave you power. Great record. Girls.
Watch them niggas.
Girls wins that.
That's fair.
Here comes the tough part of this album. Jigga that nigga Jigga.
Oh, well, Mike, take it in blood.
Well, yeah, there we go. You don't know.
Nas is coming.
Next. Hola Ovito.
Affirmative action. I know.
Heart of the City.
The setup.
Heart of the City. Never Change.
Even though I prefer the setup, but I'm partial to the song.
Never Change.
Black Girl Lost.
Never Change. Better song.
That's fair.
Song Cry.
Suspect.
That's Song Cry.
It is, but I like Suspect more, but I understand.
All I Need.
Oh, that's Shootouts, Mike. All I Need's not better than Shootouts.
Nah, that's Shootouts. Most definitely. Huh. Renegade.
Mike, live nigga rap.
That's not even close.
It's live nigga rap. Right.
So right now, just to let people know, we're 12 songs in and it's 6-6. So it all comes down to this. If I ruled the world and mama loves me, huh?
Mike, good night.
Is that where we're at?
Mike, good night.
That's crazy. It was written wins by one.
So, Mike, what does it say that Nas' second best album is better than Jay's second and third best album? It might be as good as his first. That's why I've always said it's like, no, he's better because his second best album is almost as good as his first best album, and his second best album is better than that man's second and third best album, which everybody lauds and applauds.
That's crazy that song for song it was written beats the Blueprint. Even though I still,
it's not, Mike.
Even though I still feel like
Mike,
I feel like the Blueprint's the better album still, but
Mike,
song for song.
Mike, how about this, Mike? I want you to, Mike.
And then you didn't even use Silent Murder, so you know.
Mike, that's what I say, Mike. I want you to come back to a world where Nas is coming and Black Girl Lost don't exist and Silent Murder gets inserted in.
Well, see, now, if we're doing that, then I'm taking out Jigga That Nigga Jigga, Ola O Vito, and inserting lyrical exercise.
No, Mike, this is what I'm saying. Mike, you want to go bonus track and have lyrical exercise lose to Silent Murder?
No, I don't.
Right, so he would have lost on the bonus record too.
It happens anyway.
Right, he lost on the bonus record too.
I think the only one that I'm willing to debate is Izzo, and I gave you Power, but I gave you Power.
The fact that you think that that's debatable, that might be the most. Mike, lyrically speaking,
that's a reach. It's a reach.
No, like Mike, lyrically speaking, in my opinion, by era, I go Lyrics of Fury for its era. I gave you Power for its era, and Dumb It Down by Lupe for its era. It's one of those records.
It is.
No Izzo ain't fucking with that.
CJ Kidd with the super chat says, "You guys doing a rematch of the Blueprint, and it was written." Yeah, I guess this was a rematch. It was hella close.
Keep losing, Mike.
CJ Kidd with the other super chat says, "The chat really wants to see Supreme Clientele versus It Was Written." Y'all don't want to do that to me.
I do want to do that to you, Mike, so you stop talking about Supreme Clientele like this.
Well, let's do it. Fuck it. Let's go.
Liquid Swords better than Supreme Clientele, Mike.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
We need to talk about this BET shit.
Yeah, we'll talk about the BET shit. How many songs? I got too many songs for you on.
Mike, it don't matter how many songs you got, nigga.
I got way too many songs. I got like.
How many songs on Supreme? There's a lot of skits on Supreme.
It is a lot of skits. Let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14, 15. It's 15 songs.
So, I mean, if you want, I'll let you take a record out. And if I can put Silent Murder in. But if I put Silent Murder in, it's gonna be a vocal murder, Mike. It's not gonna be a silent murder. If I put Silent Murder in, it's just gonna be a murder.
I mean, it all works out the same. We need odd numbers anyway. So 15's fine. If I lose to Silent Murder, I lose. You know what I mean?
I don't have 15. I got 13. Silent Murder would give me 14.
Oh. Yeah, that's not fair. I want to see how it goes, though. Let's see how it goes.
How about this? You got 2 posse cuts, and It Was Written only really has. Do you think you?
Well, this is what I can do.
Do you count Live Nigga Rap as a posse cut? Because a posse cut to me is 4 or more.
This is what I can do. I could take out Saturday Night because it's not really a full song.
I don't think that's fair because you have Buck 50 and Wu Banger 101, and that's 2. No, Mike, listen to what I'm saying. That's 2 songs with multiple guest appearances. The only song like that on It Was Written is Affirmative Action.
Okay. No. What's the difference between that and Live Nigga Rap?
Live Nigga Rap's only 2. Wu Banger 101 is not that, and you know Buck 50 is not that. Stop playing. Meth and Red and Kappa are on Buck 50. Ray and Jizza and Kappa are on Banger 101. Stop that. You got to get one additional person. Shit. Which one you giving up? Because here's what I'm saying when I say that. No, Ghost got a joint with RZA. Ghost got a joint with his team with We Made It. Ghost got a joint with what's his name on Stroke of Death. and like he got records with 2 other guys on him. Nas only got those 2 records, so you're gonna have to let one of the posse cuts go.
I'll let Wu Banger go because it's at the end anyway.
That's
Too
fine.
advanced digi stands make the seat in your hands.
Wu Banger 101's better than Buck 50. Been telling you that for years.
I'm not mad at that, but I disagree. I disagree.
Let's go, Mike. I don't know, Mike. Let's go. You take this L. Supreme about to take this L too, Mike.
Nutmeg is better than The Message.
Mike, nobody in the history of rap thinks that, Mike. You understand The Message? Mike, not to you and me, but to The Message, you understand The Message is a top 5 Nas record to people. And he's the greatest MC of all time.
Yeah,
it is, Mike.
I don't know if we're going to be able to do this. We're going to be...
Mike, the fact that you actually thought that Nutmeg was even in the same stratosphere as The Message is like showing how biased you are. I'm going to let the people in... Mike, I want you to wait for the chat to park.
We should do a poll on
where you said, Mike, at the point that you said that The Message was not as good as Nutmeg, Mike, you might have...
I might have lost all my credibility. Anime Bros Podcast with the super chat says, the Blueprint is more cohesive album. It was written is ill though. I'm with you. Gary Pierce with the super chat says, just showing love. Y'all show is DAF. Appreciate that.
Dope as fuck.
Yeah. Appreciate the love out there, Gary. Jay Short with the super chat says, Mike, when Coop plays John Blaze and let my niggas live after you play Upgrade You and Money Ain't a Thing, you'll realize your mistake. Back out
Mike,
now.
Mike, I want you to listen to what some people are saying. This is a fun matchup. Supreme Clientele overrated to me. Love Nutmeg, but no way. The Message is better. Stop that. Okay. This is wild and Mike D. Message is better.
Okay. Well, The Message is better then.
Nutmeg is dope, but The Message is better. The Message again, son. Still here. You wildin'.
Okay. All right. Y'all got it.
Nutmeg ain't like that, Mike. Nutmeg's not a top 5 track on Supreme. Stop that.
Nutmeg's great. But okay.
It's great. It's not a top 5 track on Supreme, though. The Message, a top 5 track on it was written.
Okay. All right. So Street Dreams and One. That's one.
That's one.
All right.
Yeah, I love One. One might be my favorite record on Supreme.
Incredible record.
Incredible.
All right. What you got? I got Saturday Night.
I gave you Power.
Right.
Say goodnight to Saturday Night.
Ghostini.
Watch them niggas.
That's Ghostini.
That is.
Apollo Kids.
Take It in Blood. Take that. Take that.
I think that's Apollo Kids, but whatever.
Mike, you talked to yourself. Mike, that's a lie. And I'm going to tell you why that's a lie, Mike. You literally talked about Ray's performance on Supreme Clientele, and you've literally said he wasn't even needed on Apollo Kids and how Apollo Kids is singly like that. So how you think it's better than one of Nas's best Mike performances ever?
I love Apollo Kids, even though I think
no, you don't, Mike. I've literally heard you say the opposite on this show. You were lying.
In comparison to the rest of the album, I may have said.
Mike, Mike, can I ask you something? Every time I talk about Take It in Blood, you get silent. Do you not like Take It in Blood, and you were scared of saying it because you know the vitriol that is going to come with you?
It's a dope record. It's not one of my favorite records on It Was Written, but
Mike,
I know how people feel about it.
Mike, take this L and take it in blood because time is money.
Let's see what people are saying. Are people saying take
Mike,
it in
you
blood?
don't want to hear what people are saying.
They're
Mike.
saying I'm trolling. Okay. The Grain.
Nas is coming.
The Grain's better than that.
I'll give you, but both of those are low moments on that album, in my opinion.
'Cause of you, I'm hurting. Within my okay. We got
like I said,
Buck 50.
Affirmative action.
Buck 50 is better than affirmative action.
Give me the affirmative action. Put it up in the poll.
Okay.
Yep. That's what I wanted. I knew that was coming too because I know how the album.
Yeah, Buck 50 is better than that record.
What's that? Let the people decide, Mike.
Okay.
Buck 50 ain't better than affirmative action.
This is a Nas channel, so I gotta factor that.
Sip your cognac, and we can all watch this money through this laundry rack. Sneaker tap, new raps and cats were top dollar. In fact, touch mines and I'll react like a Rottweiler. No. I'll be flooded with ice, so hellfire can't scorch me.
The words you talk better be the words you bark. Body you in the bed while the nurses are. Put your head out, watch me insert the dart. The people in the chat saying Buck 50. Flash from bricks to the Persian Gulf. Like circus off. 33rd of my brain is off. That explains why my language off. My gun aiming cough. Y'all ain't trained to brawl. Y'all more like in training brawls. Well behind the ear. You're not prepared for the project flow with extra stairs. I pass out a vest to wear. The hard wire. Flying. Starting bar fires. Pull the master, you know it's me. Your weed got more seeds than ODB. Can't smoke.
Hey, Mike, it's kind of funny how you tell me Ghost has the better verse, but you're rapping Redman shit.
Oh, I was about to get there. I was just going in chronological order. You weren't about to do
nothing, Mike.
I was.
Affirmative actions beating Buck 50, 63, 64 to 36.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay. You can take that L. Unless it changes, you can take that L.
I'll keep it up for a second. You know, we'll see.
Keep it up. Take this L.
All right. Mighty Healthy.
The setup.
That's Mighty Healthy.
I don't know about that. I love Mighty Healthy.
What are we doing, man? All right. If the setup beats Mighty Healthy, I'm bowing out of this. Let's talk about the BET thing.
Put it up.
There's no way. I'm sorry. There's no way.
I'm not giving you not the set. Mighty Healthy? No, I'm not giving you Mighty Healthy over the setup. You're going to have to put that up.
What do y'all say in the chat? Because I can't have two polls up at once.
Y'all going to have to win that. You're going to have to win Mighty Healthy.
What's next after that? Stay True.
I'm going to get Mighty Healthy. Hold on. People are saying Mighty Healthy. Okay. We'll give you Mighty Healthy, Mike. Nope. Mighty Healthy. People giving you Mighty Healthy. You got your Mighty Healthy.
Yeah, Mighty Healthy.
I don't appreciate how people are treating the setup. A precursor to niggas bleed. But keep going.
Then I got Stay True.
I got Black Girl Lost. That might be a tie. Both of them albums.
I still got Stay True on that.
That's fine. You can have Stay True.
We Made It. Great record.
Suspect.
We Made It's better than that.
I think We Made It might be my favorite record outside of One, so I'm not going to disagree.
Incredible record.
It is. I told you, I think that and One are probably my favorite records personally.
Stroke of Death.
Oh, no, that's not beating Shootouts.
Nah, that's Shootouts.
Malcolm? Is it Malcolm time?
Yeah, it's Malcolm.
Yeah, Live Nigga Rap got that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Got Shay Shay Like Ghost, right?
Child's Play.
If I Rule the World, Mike, you're still short. So it's 16 records?
Then Shay Shay the Ghost, and then Wu Banger.
Yeah, so you took Wu Banger out, but it's like, I'm done. Oh, Silent Murder.
Yeah, because you said
right.
Silent Murder, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, If I Rule the World versus what?
Versus Child's Play. It beats Child's Play.
Yeah, and then Shay Shay Like Ghost and Silent Murder?
That has to go to Shay Shay Like Ghost.
Mike, you know Silent Murder is better than Shay Shay Like Ghost.
I mean, Shay Shay Like Ghost is a big record. Like,
Mike,
you know what
I ain't never heard you talk like that, Mike. Stop that, Mike.
Now, I personally like Silent Murder more.
Mike, keep it real. What's the better song, Silent Murder or Shay Shay Like Ghost? Keep it real.
I mean, to me personally, it's Silent Murder, but I think that if we're talking about in the scope of an album, like, that's hard. That's a hard sell. If this was a versus or something, and Ghost played that, and Nas played Silent Murder, he would lose.
Since you don't want to do that, Mike, put it up in the chat so Shay Shay Like Ghost can get murdered.
Oh, we get it. Nas wins everything. I think he won this one. Or no, it looks like it's tied.
It might be tied. It might be close.
Yeah, it looks like it's tied. Gary Pierce with the super chat says, "Watch them niggas and Black Girl Lost are dope. Why do people hate?"
No, they're dope. They're just. How about this, Mike? It Was Written is the greatest rap album ever that we don't say is one of the greatest rap albums ever because of Illmatic. But we need to start talking about it that way because here's what I'm saying. So even if you don't think personally that it's better than the Blueprint or the Black Album or Supreme Clientele, Mike, what does it say about this album that is competing with those albums?
No, I agree with that. It says a lot.
You get what I'm saying?
And I think that there's been a lot of...
This isn't that... When it came out, people was like, man, this isn't that good. It's a sincere drop-off from the last album. I was like, man, this is some of the best shit I ever heard. It's like, am I wrong? Am I tripping?
Yeah.
And the fact that you can put it next to Supreme, Mike, which I think is a top 20 rap album.
Yeah.
The fact that you can put it next to the Blueprint, which is a top 30 rap album.
No, I
The
agree.
fact that it competes with these albums, well, usually that probably means that it is too.
It's in the conversation, yeah.
Which means, how about this?
36 Chambers says, oh, go ahead.
When I talk about Snoop having 2 top 10 albums, well, it's like, well, the fact of the matter is that he's the co-star on one of those albums. When I talk about Big having 2 top 15-ish albums, it's like, oh, no. Life After Death is littered with guest appearances, Mike. But not since Rakim made Paid in Full and Follow the Leader, are you going to find a guy whose first 2 albums are as classic as those first 2 albums are classic, and the bar work on It Was Written, although it might not be specifically Follow the Leader, Microphone Theme, and Lyrics of Fury to start off, for the duration, you do understand that's what it is. And it's one of the best rap albums ever, and people need to start talking about it like it's like, no, it's like if you got Supreme Clientele in your top 20, Mike, you see why It Was Written should be in your top 20? If you got the Blueprint in your top 20, do you see why It Was Written should be in the top 20? If Illmatic is number 1, Mike, It Was Written can't be 40. Because it's not that far. Illmatic's not that far ahead of It Was Written, and so that all I'm trying to do is like really bring some like levity to the conversation. So if you had It Was Written at like 18 all time, it's like, no, you wouldn't be wrong for that. That would be very valid.
I think people have It Was Written very high because of the mic performance, as they should, and like the person said,
best mic performance ever, Mike.
And I know you're heavy on mic performance, and so I understand that part of it. I think that's why even when Royce was talking about It Was Written better than Illmatic and all that stuff, it's because the mic performance. Now, mic performance is one thing, but the other part of it is the fact that the songs, I just don't think are as strong as some of these other albums that we're talking about, like song for song. And that's just my opinion, but I think that's even the divider between Illmatic and It Was Written. But the mic performance, I think it helps it win over a lot of things. When you're talking about the message, when you're talking about I Gave You Power, these are mic performances. You know what I'm saying? Take It in Blood. These are mic performances. It's not really about, it being, the One More Chance remix or anything, or Who Shot Ya as a song.
Mike, as far as lyrical content is concerned, and you said this, not me. You said 1996 Nas is the best rap you've ever heard.
I agree with that, and I still stand on that. And that mic performance is what carries It Was Written to these conversations you're saying. But I don't think that It Was Written songs are as strong as the songs on these other albums that are mentioned. That's what I'm saying. Then a mic performance, yes, of course.
So, Mike, when you're saying that, what you're saying is that the production is not as good.
That's part of it, yes.
So, because if you're acknowledging the fact that 96 Nas is the best rapper that you ever heard, then that would be acknowledging that It Was Written's the best lyrical performance ever recorded on mic. And that's exactly what it is.
That's one
by
of
a solo artist, not Illmatic, Mike. It Was Written's the best lyrical performance of all time.
I agree. I mean, I said he's a better rapper on It Was Written than he was on Illmatic.
So, in a culture where rhyme matters, how can the best rap performance lyrically on mic of all time not be a top 20 to 25 rap album? Where they do that at?
Matter. Because songs
no,
matter.
Mike, this is what I'm saying. Mike, so hold on. So let's go to the songs. Well, Mike, let's go to singles. The singles were If I Rule the World, Street Dreams, the Street Dreams remix, and The Message. I think the singles are covered. Mike,
I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I don't really love those singles like that.
Okay, so when you say you don't love it, This is what I'm saying. We got to get ourselves outside of this box. You understand that musically, the main thing that Nas eats off of is It Was Written. So when you're saying that you don't feel the commercial aspect of it, it's like, and I feel you on that because I agree with that. The facts show that we're wrong, Mike. That's what he eats most off of single-wise is If I Rule the World is Street Dreams. Think about this. The Message was the third single. How many guys got The Message as a third single, Mike? And then if you want to go to the album, how many people have Live Nigga Rap and Take It in Blood and I gave you Power on their album. It's like, no, I'm like, there ain't albums walking around like that got singles like If I Ruled the World and Street Dreams, and got songs like The Setup, and I gave you Power,
No,
and
I
Take It In.
I understand.
That's in shootouts, Mike. You talk about shootouts and live nigga rap. It's like, Mike, those are records 12 and 13 on that album, has an at the end. Think about think about what you're saying. So it's like when people say that, it's like, if you enjoy the way that the blueprint rides and sounds more than it was written, no, I understand. If you enjoy Supreme more and the way it rides more, no, I understand. Don't tell me it's better. It's the same level.
Okay, I mean, if they're on the same level because of the mic performance and all that, I
think Liquid Swords is better than It Was Written, Mike, personally. But it's like when I be listening to it, I be like, oh shit, it's like, ain't no If I Rule the World or Street Dreams on fucking Liquid Swords.
Yeah, it's hard to line that up. Yeah, it's hard to line that up.
There ain't no If I Rule the World or Street Dreams on fucking Supreme Clientele or The Blueprint either. Izzo's not If I Rule the World, Mike. And neither is Girls. Girls is not Street Dreams. Think about the singles.
Not a big fan of.
You think Izzo and Girls is better than If I Rule the World and Street Dreams as singles, Mike? Do you honestly believe that?
I actually like Girls more than those two songs. I do.
Mike, you talk about the Street Dreams remix.
I love the Street Dreams remix. I would put that over.
The Street Dreams remix got released as a single. Is that better than Izzo and Girls?
Oh, yeah. Now that is.
Mike, that's the third single. Hello.
That's not even on the album that we were talking about, though.
But what I'm saying is that what does it say about the album that you're saying you prefer to listen to? That a remix single is better than the two lead singles off the album, Mike.
Well, I mean, the remix for One More Chance is better than all those songs, too. So, I mean, that happens.
No, Mike, that only happens with the One More Chance remix. I like how you conveniently brought up the best remix ever created.
But it's around that same period.
Remix ever created to make your point, Mike. That was great.
36 Chambers says Supreme wins with Wu Bang in there. I'm biased. It's 9 o'clock, Coop. I don't think we're gonna have a chance to get to this tournament thing. They're gonna keep that tournament up, so we'll be able to kind of.
You want to do a quick? You want to pull one person out right quick before we go? Because we were supposed to pull Meth and Thought out today. You want to pull one of the two right quick, or you gotta go?
I gotta roll, but because I want to spend more time on this list thing, because I know people are tired of us, kind of dragging it out at the end. I want to kind of dedicate the whole Monday to it if we can.
I'm cool. We're at 43, but we're really gonna have to get in and dedicate to it and just go.
Probably have to do some offline stuff too. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of be ahead of the game too.
Mike, offline, you need to prepare for this smoke that you missed in April. You need to catch these May flowers. Okay?
Can't believe it's May
April
already.
Showers, because I was ready to rain these feature joints on you.
I'm gonna get my jiggle features together tomorrow. T Nitty with the super chat says, do Supreme Clientele.
Mariah Carey versus on Heartbreaker ain't gonna do it, Mike. I'm just gonna tell you now.
She wanna rock with Jay. Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna rock Jay if you play Heartbreaker. That's what I'm gonna do.
T Nitty with the super chat says, do Supreme Clientele versus the Blueprint of the Black Album.
I want to do Supreme versus Liquid Swords.
CJ Kidd with the super chat says, next time, Death Certificate versus It Was Written. Like you guys said last week.
Death Certificate has too many songs for It Was Written. That's the problem.
Gary Pierce with the super chat says, to reiterate, if your favorite or someone else made It Was Written, ... Yeah, somebody else would have made It Was Written. It would probably be their best piece of work, yes. Jay Short with the super chat says, if I Gave You Power is the first single with a video, we are having a different conversation about It Was Written. That I agree with. And I believe if Eminem would have made I Gave You Power, you would have seen a music video for it.
I believe in 1996, the world wasn't even ready, hip-hop wise, for somebody to be talking that way on record, Mike. Like for me, when I heard that record, that's the standard that I judge lyrics and lyricism by, including the hook. Because the hook is sick, too. How You Like Me Now, I Go Blow. It's the shit that moves crowds, making every ghetto foul. I might have took your first child, scarred your life, crippled your style. I gave you power. I made you buck wild. And people talking about this man's hook game. That's 96.
And on that note, we can get up out of here.
On a primo record, Mike.
Yo, Leroy Green, email me, man. We're gonna join forces and get this feature thing knocked out.
Leroy,
Nah, I
help your
don't
man
need you. I
take this
got
show. Madman, I want to let you know that you still don't have your own show. I'm gonna tap dance on you, Madman, until you get your weight up.
Peace, everybody.